This episode of the Primal Scream podcast is brought to you by It Works independent distributor Kathy Sculla. Have you tried that crazy wrap thing? It tightens, tones, and firms any area from the neck down. It Works also provides a wide variety of premium supplements, along with a full skincare line. I personally use their multivitamins and greens, and if you're interested in learning more about It Works products or the business opportunity, call or text Kathy at 319-360-2009 or go to her website, kathysculla.myitworks.com. That's CATHYSKALA.myitworks.com.
Wake up. It's time for Primal Scream.
And welcome back to the Primal Scream. I'm Matt.
I'm Todd.
And today we have the swinger David Scott with us on the program.
How you guys doing?
Good. Awesome. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a wonderful experience to be here. Your neighbors. You're in the complex outside. I was parked my car outside. I'm not making this up. I drive a 1996 Jaguar, and I was parked in the street, and a guy right across your complex, no shirt, the short shorts on, beer belly, knocks on my window and goes, "What are you doing here?"
Wow.
I'm like, doing a radio show. Oh, there are no radio shows here. And I'm like,
I wonder who it was.
I got to put a sign up in the front.
I'll point right at he was washing his big giant black SUV, you know.
Oh, interesting.
He was being friendly. But you know how you're friendly, but you also think that I'm staking out the joint, like I'm going to rob you at this
Yeah.
Well, because they've had garages robbed, they have had sheds robbed. We had a guy driving around with a van trying to pick up kids. So, I mean, it's happened throughout the years.
Oh yeah,
so
I totally believe it. But usually, if I'm in a van with blacked out windows and duct tape, I would. But I'm in a nice Jaguar, you know.
The Jag does not attract children normally.
Not many people go, "Oh, let's go in the Jag, honey," you know. So, you know. But I thought it was very funny that obviously you got very nice neighbors who have no idea you guys are doing a radio show.
Well, yeah, a lot of them do.
Well, yeah, I've talked to him a little bit about doing a podcast and things like that.
I was more concerned that he was trying to pick me up.
Oh.
Because, you know, the shirt's on, no shirt. I'm like going, oh, it's gay car wash time here.
Down at the car wash.
It's like, hey, man, $5, I'll clean your window. No, we're good.
I rub my belly on there, scrub it down good.
So the swinger David Scott, this is new. This is just kind of a recent, you're kind of metamorphosing kind of a little bit from...
Yeah, the Midnight Swinger.
The Midnight Swinger.
I've been known as the Midnight Swinger for about 20 years.
Right? 1999 you came up with that?
Yeah, 1999 came up with the Midnight Swinger. It actually wasn't my name. It was a nickname given to me. I was I'm a Las Vegas performer, and I was doing a Las Vegas style show, and my buddy said, we gotta call you something. You just can't be David Scott. We gotta call you something. And old Mel Torme song called The Midnight Swinger. And you guys can, look it up. It's a great song. Written by a guy by the name of Hank Jones Jr. And Kirk listened to the song. My friend Kirk Nolan, who gave me the nickname, said, "Hey, this is you. Call yourself the Midnight Swinger." So he was introducing me one night, and like, please welcome the Midnight Swinger. And I walked on stage, and the name just stuck. It just stuck. And for 20 years, it was no problem. For 20 years, the Midnight Swinger did not invoke any sort of like images of anything negative. For 20 years, from 1999 to 2009. There was no problem. 10 years. Excuse me, 10 years. There was no problem. Everything was fine for 10 years, and then all of a sudden, around 2010, 2011, my different managers and agents were saying, "Yeah, people are kind of scared about the name Midnight Swinger. They're afraid to go online. They're afraid to, they look it up online. They think it's a sex site. They think it's all about sex. Are you a swinger?" And I'm like, what happened? So I actually went and hired a PR company, a PR firm. I spent, a couple $1,000s and said, "What's going on? Why is this all of a sudden?" And I found out within about 15 years, club owners, corporate shows, like HR people that would hire me, when I first started, they were already like 50, 55 years old. And they knew what the term swinger meant back as way I was using it, which is back in the Rat Pack days.
Right.
A swinger, a performer, a person who swings, a person who's jazzy, who's high, blah, 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 blah. Well, those people end up retiring. And they were replaced by 25-year-olds who now have the name swinger in their head. They think, sex.
Yeah.
Swinger's all about sex.
Sure.
Right.
So now these club owners who used to be, 55, 60, well, they've retired. Their kids are taking over the club, and they see swinger as nothing but sex. So they were like all skittish about it. So I said, what do we do? What can we do?
Yeah.
And they said, first of all, you got to bring back your name, David Scott. And they said, and everybody loves the word swinger. They love the word swinger. So we're the swinger David Scott. And I said, wait, isn't swinger the problem? They go, no, the problem is midnight. Midnight swinger for people under the age of 35 invokes sex.
Those two words together.
Yeah, those two words together.
Wow, how would you have ever known that if you hadn't hired that company? Holy cow.
I would have been banging my head against the wall trying to figure out what is wrong with
hell?
these sons of bitches who can't seem to figure out. I mean, my promo is all Vegas style promo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everything is obviously tongue in cheek. I've got the big giant pompadour. I'm wearing these crazy outfits. Clearly, I'm not wearing a bondage outfit. Right. And I'm not selling ball gags after my show.
Assless chaps on stage.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they figured it out for me, and since I've made the change, everything is sort of like now it's like okay, it's picked up back to normal.
Good.
Yeah. So, and I used to have a website. My website was themidnightswinger.com. I got rid of that one because I realized from learning about things it was being blocked. The Midnight Swinger was being blocked on search engines. Like if you were like at work, if you were like working for Rockwell or Cargill or Burger King, and you wanted to research me, you searched the Midnight Swinger, computers, their filters were blocking it. So
wow. So money well spent.
Money, yeah, it was money well spent. I've made back that money, 20-fold since I spent it.
Wow,
so now
that's
my
awesome.
new website is damilookgood.com, which has been my catchphrase since '99, and so it's all good to go. But now I have to people who have known me since '99 still promote me as the Midnight Swinger. I gotta say, no, it's the Swinger David Scott. So it's like so for the old people, it's like re-educating them.
Sure.
For the new people, like going, oh, thank God, it's not the Midnight Swinger. So
Well, finally, I can look at him at work.
yes.
All right, hey, you know what day it is?
I meant to look at the date because I never know the date.
It's one of our shticks.
I'm terrible.
He fucking doesn't know it.
All right, I'm going to say...
You went to a wedding yesterday, so she gave you a timeline.
No, because my wife takes care of...
So you don't know the date.
No, I mean, she takes care of
Chuck Kavanaugh watch is being made as we speak.
You know what day it is, right?
It's a Sunday.
Okay, as long as you know.
It's a Sunday, and
What month is it?
it's... the kids are going back to school. It's August.
Yeah.
Right? It's I almost said
What's
June.
the number between 9 and 11?
I'm going to say 10. I'm going to say 10.
You dummy.
Well, wait. Yeah. It's August 10th.
It's August 10th. And yes, the kids are going back soon, so that's a positive
They
thing.
go back earlier.
Just a couple
don't
weeks.
they?
Yeah, and then you have Iowa, our governor, trying to push the idea of us making
Year-round?
all schools. Oh, a year-round school would be fantastic. No, starting after September 4th, so that everybody can go to the fair. They want that commerce to go to the fair, and so they're thinking about pushing it back. And there are school districts around Cedar Rapids that file some kind of paperwork that says we don't have to follow that rule because of all this other stuff that we have going on. So my kids, both of our kids go back in a week.
Yeah.
Thank God.
It's really sad to me that, kids' education is a key topic, but it's not really that important when you hear about a governor wanting to change the time kids are going back to school just
for money,
just to make some more money.
Yeah.
Well, he's fighting the unions, the teachers' unions that will fight him on it because they have.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the fact when we were kids, cause I'm 44. I'm assuming you guys 75 and 80.
Yep.
So you look.
I look great for 75.
Yeah, me too.
You kind of look bad for
training
80.
is working out for both of you. Whatever it is, the ground and pound, don't stop. All right. But when we were kids, we didn't go to school till after Labor Day. It was always like September 1st, September 2nd.
Yeah, I remember that too.
So going back to school on August 17th makes no sense to me because I've got a daughter, and she'll be a senior this year, and we're going to go see Kiss and Def Leppard in Des Moines on August 20th.
Sweet.
Her first day of school, I think, is August 19th. I'm thinking your first day of school may not be until August 22nd,
right?
Because
I
mean, it's for me in my mind, August. You don't start school until like September, maybe August 29th or 30th at the earliest.
Right.
But it was always like September 1, 2, or 3. But we also didn't get out until like, June 1 or June 2.
Well, I think nowadays, too, you have holidays. So I know my kids have 2 solid weeks off. Like they get done like December 18th. And they don't go back to like January 6th. So, I mean, they have 2 full solid weeks off. Like 3 days before Christmas, that whole week, and the whole week following that for New Year's. They get a big vacation right in the middle for the holidays. So part of it to me is okay as long as they're, I don't know, getting some time back. But see, year-round school would be a fantastic thing. That'd
you really
be
do.
so
You really
phenomenal.
think that?
I've always thought that was a good idea.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
All the studies. See, that's the thing is a lot of school
kids stay in
districts.
routine of things.
Kids don't retain. I mean,
It's all about retention.
the first month is basically reteaching the kids all things they forgot, over the summer. I've got a lot of friends who are teaching. One of my best friends, Amy, she's a teacher, and she says the first month is a nightmare because you have to reteach everything, especially for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. The high school kids, not so much.
Special ed kids, kids who need extra stuff anyway throughout the school year, and that just keeps you going. I mean, I think you still get like a nice solid month off in summer.
Yeah.
You get like a 3-week vacation during like the holidays. I mean, you get big chunks of time off. But the big thing is everybody is all, test-based stuff, but it's all also science. What is best for kids? What does it show as best for kids? And year-round school by far is head and shoulders above everything else. It's like the main thing to do. I think Cedar Rapids has one school. I think Taylor Elementary School.
They go year round?
I think they're the only year-round school, but they're kind of like an alternative school kind of thing.
In college, when I was in college, I went year-round. When summer came, I just took summer classes.
Right.
It was the best thing that ever happened. It was the best thing. Not only did I graduate faster, I got 3 degrees out of it because I was going year-round.
Wow.
And I'm thinking year-round schools. And there was a time when parents were like, no, it's our vacation time. But now that parents are working and they both have jobs and moms and dads or single parents, year-round school actually makes their life easier.
Oh, yeah. Save a lot of money. Jeez Louise. If you have a 2.5 months of, all day long daycare, that can be. I mean, I think Aaron Bunce, a friend of ours who wrote a book, he's been on the podcast. I think he's talking about $7,500 a year, like that he pays for daycare.
Wow.
Yeah,
and that's like one kid or something. He's like,
my brother and sister, or my brother-in-law and sister, they paid.
That was an awkward statement. That was a Freudian slip. It's like, I'm from Shoeyville.
But their daycare expenses equaled their house payment.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah,
it was $1,200 a
work. I mean, and that's why you should figure out if it just is better not to work. Have one person stay home and watch the kids. Like we've always talked about, we've moved away from that, and there's some of the problems we see with kids or the connections that are lost because if somebody's in daycare. I mean, my oldest, who's 20 now, I remember he went to daycare 12 weeks after the maternity leave was over. He was at a daycare as an infant, and so. Not that I don't think he has nipple envy or anything. He's probably doing just fine. But I mean, he's just like missed out on some of that time,
Nipple envy?
He's angry. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
Every man is angry. Every man wants more nipple time.
That's true.
That nipple envy thing just doesn't make sense to me because we're all.
I was going off of penis envy. And I think nipple envy.
Okay. So. Hey, what do we got for current events today? How are we going to time?
Well, I was going to talk about. There was a video that's been going on the internet of this guy shooting another. They're partners.
Christ,
they're partners,
dark.
And they're like rap partners on their. I guess I can't remember the name. I didn't really get into what their name was, but they're having an argument in like a convenience store of who was the star, who was the main guy, and it got to one guy just pulls a gun out and shoots him like 8 times. On this videotape, and he doesn't die. He has actually lived, which is crazy in and of itself. But then he and these other 5 guys just kind of walk over his body and leave the convenience store. And it was on Shade 45, which is a rap hip hop station that I love listening to on Sirius Radio. And they were having a discussion about rap and art, it being an art form, and then what part transitions over into promoting more violence. And they were having a discussion about it because it's a rap show. And Sway from MTV back
Sway
in the day.
Morning.
Yeah, Sway in the Morning. He's awesome. But they're having a conversation about it. And so I wonder where the line of art stops, or is it all art? You know, because I mean, I heard a song. Like I said, I can't listen to it with my kids in the car, even though I enjoy it. But there was one where the chorus is, "I'm gonna kill a nigger, I'm gonna shoot a nigger," and then that's where over and over, and that's all the chorus was.
Yeah.
And so part of me is just like, does that lead to more violence? Or I understand the idea of rap stars expressing themselves about how they grew up or how the lives they lived, you know, to a certain point.
Right.
But then you wonder if there's a line that's drawn or should be drawn, you know, when it comes to art.
You know, I have a pretty easy definition of art. Would you like to hear it?
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, art is in the eyes of the beholder. You know, there's a guy who puts paint in his ass and farts fucking paint all over tapestries, and
Seriously?
people pay big money for it.
What?
Yeah, that's a true story.
Are you serious?
No, I swear to God. I'll put a link to it on below. I really shouldn't, because who the fuck wants to buy shit art?
Yeah,
But,
literally.
But here's the deal. If it makes you happy, I think it's entertaining and art. I mean, which reminds me of something that you have said, which was, you know, I'm not just a comedian. I want to go up on stage, and I don't want to really talk about. I'm not here to change your mind. Mm-hmm. I'm not here to preach at you or anything like that. I want you to come here, forget about all the negative stuff, forget about all the stresses in your life, and just be entertained.
Right.
Which I dig that. I so love
awesome.
that. So I guess if you're listening to that and you really love it and it makes you feel better, it makes you feel happier, I guess that would be my definition of art. It makes you feel good in a certain way. Some people like to look at shitty artwork, but they love it. They go there and they stare at it, and nobody else might like it, but
They like it.
it's art.
So it all comes down to the beholder, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. If it makes you happy. I mean, if you're going to listen to a piece of music and it just makes you angry and you want to do violent things, then I don't think that's very artistic. I think that's just feeding on really primitive emotions. So I don't think that's art.
I think that's art. I was just curious. I mean, hearing them talk about it was interesting, and then I just remember all the. I mean, I used to love NWA. And did I say NWEA?
I don't know,
Jesus
but
Christ.
it didn't sound like NWA.
NWA. I used to love that, and they talk about killing cops. I mean, I liked that music when I was a kid growing up. So, but that didn't make me want to go and kill a cop. It was more of like, this is the story that they're telling of how they grew up and what happened in their neighborhood. I don't know.
I've always felt like when you have to defend what you do, it's no longer art.
Oh.
When you have to defend it, when you have to actually to explain to somebody or explain to a person, this is why I do this, then you've gone from it being art to being a performance piece. And there is a difference. You know, you can walk into a museum and not like something.
Okay.
But you know it's a painting. You know it's a sculpture. You know it's art. You know it's a creation of something, you know?
Right.
You can walk into a bakery and see this amazing wedding cake and say, I don't want to eat that. That's like a piece of art. You know, it's a sculpture.
Sure.
It's, you know, so when you have to defend it, when you have to explain, oh, the reason I do this is because of this, then it's not really art. It's an opinion. And that's just I
like his definition better. I like that one better.
You know,
it's kind of like
what's thoughtful.
That there's an art. I don't know if it's an art piece or if it's just in the museum where there's the remains of a person and it's sliced and put in plate glass.
The body.
Oh, the bodied exhibit. Yeah,
the body exhibit. Like, I wouldn't consider that art.
Neither would I.
Somebody would have to.
Science.
That's science.
That's
I
okay.
totally agree.
Yeah.
That's science. Well, remember back in, I want to say it was, and you guys have to help me because we're about the same age. Remember when Judist Priest was on trial because one of the songs, and kids listened to the song, a kid either killed himself or killed his friend. I can't remember.
Committed suicide. Yeah, you're right.
Because of the Judist Priest song.
Right.
And Judist Priest had to then defend their music.
Right.
You know, so there was, is it art or is it noise or is it an opinion? And truth of the matter is, if you get it, if you walk in to a record store, well, they don't exist anymore, kids. Google record stores.
I was just at Reckless Records in Chicago. Oh, I love LP stores.
And you listen to it and it's beautiful. If it's Judist Priest, great. But if somebody else, it's just noise, you have to defend it, well, then that's where it's no longer art. Art, to me, the term art, and I say it not because I've got like this personal, connection to it, because I do not consider myself an artist. There are comics out here who work all across the country who consider what they do an art form. And I completely disagree with that. I don't think what we do is an art form. I don't think comedy is an art form. I think it's a skill. I think it's a unique skill that 0.1% of the world can do. It's a skill. It's not an art, Okay. And I think anybody can walk on stage and tell a dick joke. That does make him an artist. Are you a comedian? Yes, you are. Are you an artist? No, you're not. That's the difference.
Okay.
So, but can you be a performer? Can you be a performance? Then that's the difference.
Okay.
I mean, that's the way I feel. I mean, I can, it's just a kind of mentality. And I've gotten to, you'd be surprised, comics and musicians, we all hang out. And this is a debate that we've had hundreds of times. It's happening right now. It happens at comedy clubs every night. It's an art form. It's an art form. Because if you go to a comedy club or if you go to a concert and the band is just on fire, the comic is on fire, it looks so easy. Oh, it looks effortless. Every person in the audience goes, I can do that. I can do that. Look how easy that is. And then you go to another concert or another comedy show and the comic is horrible. He's struggling. Everybody else goes, oh, I'm better than that. It's not like, oh, he's having a tough time. No, it's either I can do it or I'm better than that person. And we have debates going, you have no idea how hard it is to get on stage. You have no idea how difficult every entertainer, be it musician or comedian, dancer, whatever, we walk a razor's edge every night because we're performing in front of strangers. We have no idea who you people are. We don't know you. We have no connection to you. We have no idea who you are. And we try to perform in a way that you will enjoy.
Right.
And I can tell a joke on Friday and get a standing ovation. I can tell that same joke on Saturday and get booed. That's how the razor's edge is. Concerts are the same way. I hear stories of bands on stage and they're in Chicago and the great set and the next night they're in Milwaukee and they're being booed. Why? Who knows why? But,
right.
But the audience is such a wild card. If it wasn't for the audience, it'd be so much easier. So, but does that make it an art form? No, it makes it a performance.
Okay.
So this whole rap thing, these are performers. These aren't artists. These are performers. And I'm also saying not everybody that paints is an artist. People who paint, like blowing paint out of your ass, that's not art. It's a performance. Whether people
because that's why you're buying it.
Yeah.
I'm buying it because he blew paint out of his ass. I'm not buying it because it's an incredible painting, or maybe some people think it is.
So what something is defined as art is not up to us. It's a generational thing. Van Gogh was ridiculed and mocked. He couldn't sell a painting to save his life. After he died, then his genius was. So it's not us to decide. We're too close to it. It'll be your kids, my kids, who will decide, okay, you want to know something? Bone Slugs and Harmony, they were artists. But that's not going to be us to decide. It's going to be 50 years from now to decide what art is.
Bone Slugs and Harmony.
I was hoping you guys would get the reference and one song.
I fucking hate Bone Slugs and Harmony. God.
Get the reference.
But you're right.
But you know what? Maybe our kids or grandkids will love it. They'll look back on it and go, oh.
They were a very unique band.
Remember, the Beatles were hated. Elvis was hated. Bill Haley and the Rock and the Comets, they were hated. Beethoven wasn't appreciated. Mozart wasn't appreciated. It's not until after you've passed away and your stuff has a chance to sit and watch and grow. It
becomes timeless, pretty much.
Timeless. That's what art is. You can't define art in the moment. It's impossible.
Yeah. All right. So another thing too.
Deep. That was deep. Thank you very. I like that.
That was very good.
By the way, I'm really, really funny.
You don't have to convince us.
Damn, I look good.com.
One more serious.
You're gonna want that website. Everybody wants it.
I like it. I mean, the first thing was like, God, that's really catchy. I love it. Well, we're not talking about politics, but so we're now bombing ISIS in Iraq. So we're bombing.
We're just we're bombing Iraq.
My daughter was real confused about ISIS because we both watch a show called Archer on FX.
Right.
Archer works for ISIS, and my daughter goes, "Is this real? Is this part of the cartoon?" It's like the government's bombing ISIS. I go, "No, this is real." So
yeah. Well, so we are bombing them again in Iraq, but what's weird is. That's why I think Obama can do absolutely no right at this point, because Republicans are saying you're not doing enough because ISIS is going to attack America on American soil is what the Republicans are saying, and that he needs to start bombing and doing more to stop them. So it's like it goes almost back to that same exact argument. We're going to take the fight over there, so we don't have to do it here. And I mean, to see history repeating so soon. After 10, 12 years ago,
our short-term memory is just gone.
I don't think it's gone because I mean, public opinion stopped the bombing or us arming the Syrian rebels, and so my worry is now we're doing it. It's we're just bombing these guys who are bad. They're saying get troops back in there if you can. I don't think that'll happen. I think this bombing thing is just going to be what he does is just bomb them from. But again. People are on top of him already saying, well, first, he shouldn't be bombing, period. And then Republicans are saying, you should be bombing the shit out of him and getting troops on the ground because if that fight comes here, we're going to blame you for it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword for him. But that we're back in Iraq bombing again, it's just kind of, we've been doing drones for quite a while now over there. But now that this is what gets to the whole military-industrial complex thing going.
If I live there, or, again, we've done this a couple times, but if China was drone striking Iowa because there's one or two assholes in Iowa, I would be an insurgent. I would hate China exactly the same way. There's people over there. There's some bad people who hate us. There's going to be bad people who hate us everywhere. But the people who don't mind us, all of a sudden your family's dead. Guess what? They hate you now. They hate us now. So why would you continue to do it? It's not our fight. We should back out of it. We should pull all of our troops out of it. And that's just one man's opinion. I'm just saying it's a terrible decision.
And the funny part too, or not so funny, is Congress and the president both have their Obama's at his low. He's at his all-time lowest, and Congress
approval rating,
and Congress is at 9%. I'm just like, how much lower can you get? Could you bottom out and be like 1 or 0? You know what I mean? Because they were trying to get some things passed before they went on their summer recess, and they couldn't pull it off. And then they all went on vacation for a month before they go back on. And it's just like, it would be so hard for me to do my job, and people telling me you're doing a really horrible job. Oh, by the way, it's time for you to take your break. So go ahead and take your break, and we'll talk about how horrible you're at your job later on when you come back from your vacation. That wouldn't happen.
Well, you have to understand, first of all, to be a politician, you don't care what other people think. That's first and foremost.
It sure seems that way.
Once you get elected, if you read any sort of political website, Politico is a great one. Once you're elected, to lose re-election is like 18%. Because you almost have a re-election of 85%. Because of the way the districts are drawn, the way that you're locked into being either Republican or Democrat.
Gerrymandering everything.
Gerrymandering, exactly. So once you're in, you're in. And when you know you're in for life, it's like the Supreme Court. Once you know you're in for life, you can make anything you want. You can do anything you want. Which is why since I was, 22, 23 years old, and I love politics, I love political science, I'm a big fan of it, I've said the only way this fixes, there's one fix, and no one wants to do it because politicians will lose their job. Term limits.
Absolutely.
Supreme Court has to have term limits. The Supreme Court has you have 20 years on the bench, period. No one is allowed to make decisions for life. So the Supreme Court is 20 years. Senators, you get 3 terms, which is 18 years.
Yeah, that's long.
Terms. That still is 6-year terms. They don't have to be consecutive, but you can serve 3 terms in the Senate. You can serve 5 terms in the House. That's 10 years. Now you've taken these people's livelihood, and they don't want to give that up.
Right.
That's why you'll never see term limits come up through the House. You never see term limits come up through the Senate because these guys are in flight. You serve, once you get into the House of Representative, you've got health insurance and a pension for life. For life. I would love to run for the Senate. I'd love to run for the House of Representatives, knowing that if I go there, if I'm elected, I never have to show up for a meeting. I never have to show up for cabinet. I'm elected. Where's my money?
Well, and that's what I wondered.
Congress, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
You're fine.
Congress is the ultimate welfare scam. If you want to know why we're a welfare nation, look at Congress. All of them are on welfare. Every single one of them is on welfare. They never have to work. You
think the money issue might play into it if he had, like, you get money out of politics? I wonder, is that even possible to get money out of politics to the point where
how could you could have?
They're all millionaires. Everybody in Congress is a millionaire. You know,
due to the money that they make from donors. But I mean, could
they have the opportunity to do insider trading.
Right.
It's not illegal for them to do insider trading, where it is illegal for you or me or Martha Stewart.
Yeah. Right. So that's what I mean. I wonder if you could take money out. If you weren't having to, like you said, you don't have to show up to any meet, because I mean, Bruce Braley is getting whacked on the TV screen right now because he is going to fundraisers for himself instead of being in the House, being in the Senate for votes.
Right.
Well, but you have to have money to get reelected. So they talk about, NPR has done some incredible shows on these guys who almost do nothing but fundraise for the next 2 years just to have the money so that they can do it again to get reelected. And so they don't do their job because they're so worried about getting reelected.
As soon as you're elected, you immediately start your reelection campaign.
Right.
Which is why I'm blown away that why we've got an election coming up in November. And I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. It doesn't matter to me. The party system is broken. Why if there are 91% of the people are dissatisfied with Congress, why you don't walk into election booth and no matter who the incumbent is, Republican, Democrat, man, woman, black, white, midget, tall person, doesn't matter. You vote for their opponent because you're so sick of what's there.
Right.
How is it that there should be nobody going back into the House who is an incumbent? It should be How is it that we are so angry, but when they walk in the election booth, they go, well, I guess I'll put Pelosi back, or I'll put Boehner back. Or
right.
It's like, how can you not vote for whoever their opponent is? Even in the primary, even in a primary, how can a Democrat look at Nancy Pelosi or a Republican look at John Boehner and go, I hate you so much. I'm going to vote for anybody that's running against you.
Right.
And then, or for the general election, if there's Boehner against, Joe Smith, I'm going to vote for Joe Smith because I hate Boehner. Boehner's so bad at his job. How that doesn't happen amazes me.
It is.
Amazes me.
That's an interesting statement that you make, because he's so bad at his job. But if his job is to, we would all believe that his job is to make our lives, the American people's lives, as good as it can be. But maybe his job is to cock block everything that a Democratic president wants.
Well, but that's not his job.
I know, but what if he thinks that's his job?
Then he should be then he should be kicked out because that's not what the Constitution says. That's not his mandate. If you read the mandate, he's the House of Representatives. He's not the House of making sure the president can't get shit done.
Right.
But that became like a really popular opinion as soon as Barack Obama got elected. Was, hey, let's stop everything that they want to get done.
Said that our goal is to make sure Obama does not get reelected. When you state that's your goal, then you've immediately said, fuck you to the American people, whether you're a Republican or Democrat. We don't give a shit about you. We're going to just make sure that this guy, and oh my God, I almost said this. I got into a huge debate on a radio show I was in Cleveland, Ohio, a club called The Improv, one of my favorite clubs in the world. And I was doing a radio show. It was a talk radio show. It was an AM talk radio show. And Obama always carries Ohio. Republicans always think they're going to beat Obama in Ohio, and they never do. They always lose like 9 or 10. Oh, it's going to be razor thin. Obama wins by 9 points or whatever it is, because Republicans can't add. That's the first of all. Republicans can't add. Anyway, but and believe it or not, I lean conservative. But so Obama gets elected, and the first thing this D-bag McConnell says is that our goal is to make sure Obama doesn't get reelected. And I got into this huge argument. And then of course, the Tea Party came out of nowhere.
Right.
And I said the only difference between the Tea Party and the KKK is the Tea Party doesn't wear white hoods. That's the only difference. And oh my God, the phone lines lit up. I was getting railed. And I said, why does the Tea Party not exist? The Tea Party says, government spending is out of control. Presidential powers are out of control. Blah 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 blah. This is why we need smaller government. We need less taxes. Blah blah
Right.
blah blah blah. And I go, how is it under 8 years of W. Bush, where the government grew to its biggest size in history? The government was never bigger until George Bush. It doubled in size. Our deficit exploded. Presidential mandates exploded. Privacy acts were destroyed. And the Tea Party sat silent. There was no Tea Party.
Right.
All right. Then the banking industry collapsed. The housing market collapsed. George Bush. And people still think that Obama was the reason for the TARP Act. I go, no, it was George W. Bush who signed that. Tea Party goes, Obama signed it. No, you morons, you do not understand. This was a Republican problem. This is a Republican issue. And I've said that the Tea Party is the KKK. I still, to this day, believe the Tea Party is the KKK. It is a racist organization trying to get a black man, because remember, up until 2004, every president had been an old white guy.
Right.
Everybody was an old white guy. Senators were old white guys. House representatives, they were old white guys.
Right.
And all of a sudden we got, there's a woman over there. Is that a black guy? Is that a black guy over there? It's like going, I'm pretty sure that guy's gay. What?
Yeah.
What? And and I don't care how subversive you have to be, but that's how it starts. You start seeping in this racist, homophobic, misogynist attitude, and it becomes the Tea Party.
Because I mean, the Tea Party kind of started out as, I would say, almost on a libertarian kind of stint, but they still had some people that were voicing some progressive liberal kind of things, legalize drugs, legalize things like that, and then they also had some conservative points of view. And then it did seem to me that you could kind of watch it get hijacked by these people who kind of become kind of like you said, misogynistic and racist and things like that. But which I remember listening to the Tea Party going, oh, okay, I can kind of align myself with some of these ideas, because I'm definitely a pretty liberal guy, but there are certain things I'm leaning more conservative on, and certain parts of Ron Paul's platform that I agree with, not all of it, but some of it. So, I think we're all different pieces of it. That's the hard part about the Congress for me, is that I think we all are a melting pot. I'm definitely not just a liberal anymore. Mm-hmm. But I'm definitely not totally a conservative, and it's like that gray and white balance between people who are pro-life and pro-choice. I would assume that most people are pro-life in a sense that for me in particular, I would say that I would never want my wife or my sister or anybody in my family to have an abortion. I think it's a horrible thing, but I'm certainly not going to say somebody can't get an abortion.
It's a tragic event. It's a tragic thing for somebody to go through.
So that gray area we're all in, I think goes over to politics as well. We all have different pieces that we probably align ourselves with. You lean more conservative. But you're not going to necessarily call yourself a conservative neocon Republican. You're not going to fit their bill. I don't think a lot of people fit those bills anymore. No. We're all pretty generalized and have different parts that we agree with.
Yeah, I've always been a fiscal conservative, but a social liberal. And that's always been the way I think most people, and I think most of the country would say that I'm socially liberal. I don't want people to be starving. I don't want people to be homeless. I don't want people to, not have the best chance to succeed. But they also like going, I would like to pay less taxes.
Right.
So that's what social conservative is. It's.
I think people are looking to bait people too. I had a family member who is super conservative. That uncle nobody likes to talk to politics, is he's so bad about it. And I remember him making a comment like, just out of the blue saying things. So what do you think? I saw this lady the other day driving down the street, and she had those American flag things in her windows when she was driving. And I was like, oh, cool. He's like, what do you think about that? I was like, well, she can drive with whatever she wants in the windows. What do you mean? What do I care about? And he was just trying to see if I was like, oh, fuck. Because he assumed I'm still pretty liberal. And then he assumed that I would be like, because I'm a liberal, I'd be like, oh, what the hell? Rah, rah, America all the time. Why would she have those stupid flags in her window? To assume that somebody who's a liberal is an American, hates America. Mm-hmm. I think people, we've said this before on the podcast. I think it's easy for some people, liberals and liberal Democrats and conservative Republicans, to label somebody a certain way, and it frees you up. You don't have to think about it. Oh, he's a conservative? Fuck.
Yeah.
I don't waste my time with him. I know how he is. put them in a box.
Yeah,
oh, you're a liberal? Oh, Jesus Christ, you tree hugger. Get the fuck out of here.
Liberals are wimps. Conservatives are manly people. Right. That's the thing.
The other day I was at work and almost everybody I work with is hardcore Republican. Hardcore. And I like to listen to both sides. And then I think, well, who sounds more fucking crazy?
And then make a decision based on the facts.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
How odd.
What if it's so great we actually make a decision based on the facts instead of the talking heads on MSNBC and Fox? Would be a great catch.
Yeah. Oh, wait. What color is above his name? Oh, it's blue. I don't like him.
Blue? I hate him.
Must be a Democrat.
So what was this conversation about?
The conversation, we were talking about the war, stuff with the war and stuff like over in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I was like, God, I just wish we would just stop all this shit and just come home and bring all the troops home. And, what business is it of ours? Can you imagine? And, I was trying to put the shoe on the other foot. And there's probably 5 other guys in there. And one guy, my boss goes, God, could you be any more of a fucking pussy liberal? And I thought, I could be, but the idea of not harming another person makes me a pussy liberal. The idea of not destroying generations of families, that makes me a pussy liberal. I guess I'm a pussy liberal.
Yeah, I never quite understood that. I mean, and to go back on what you said, I'm the same. I was the same way when George W. Bush. And let's be honest, in George W. Bush and Al Gore, they were the same person during the election. They both basically said the same thing. They were both, They were both middle ground. Neither one of them was a wacko to the right or to the left. And they both had something that really is forgotten about in today's history. What is it? 14 years later, people forget this. They both had a platform of isolationism. They actually wanted to pull back the troops out of it was very rarely talked about, but Bush wanted to get out of this, and Al Gore wanted to get out. We wanted to not have our troops spread because they both understood, and this is the only time I'll actually say good things about both these guys, that we are not the world's policemen.
Right.
And they both wanted to pull back. And then September 11th happened. And that's when George W. Bush was no longer president of the United States. Because if you look at his cabinet, it was all of his father's guys. It was Rumsfeld. It was Cheney. It was Powell. These guys wanted war. And for the reason you said, money. It's all about the money. They made so much money.
Well, it's
war makes the economy better, and war makes all these fat cats mutton. And it's not a surprise. Who did Cheney work for? Halliburton.
Right.
Who got all the blind contract bids? Halliburton.
And then who was never held accountable for electrocuting and killing soldiers and all the shitty things that they did? No accountability at all.
So George W. Bush lost control of his presidency, and we then became this, and then it became the Bush Doctrine, which is, you remember, we're going to spread democracy around the world. Well, you want to know something? I can't remember. It was William Payne, I think, said democracy is the worst form of government, but it's better than anything else.
Right.
I'm not sure it was Payne, but I think it was. It says democracy is not the best form, but it's better than anything else.
Right.
And we're going to spread that because democracy, and I love democracy, I love freedom, but there's corruption, there is just grift, there is money, it's a very corrupt form of government.
Right.
But it's better than communism. It's better, better than a dictatorship. Better than a monarchy.
Wouldn't you say that today's democracy is just a redefinition of an older class system?
Probably. Well, it's definitely looking like that.
There is no middle class. I will say that. There is a lower class, and then there's an upper class. The middle class, there is no middle class anymore. Because people in the middle class think that they're in the lower class because,
their wages haven't changed.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, they've been stagnant for, 30 years?
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane to think that our economy could somehow get revived when the middle class is not doing okay. Because, the middle class is the people who are making the average incomes that can buy the cars, that can buy the TVs, can buy the computers. If you don't have that group of people, which is the majority of America, earning a living and buying things, your economy is not going to work.
It's funny. I talk to people, especially comics, who are struggling because they make $100 a show, and they say, "Oh, $100 a show is a good show." Yeah, you're doing 3 a month, and they're like, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm performing on cruise ships. I'm doing these private events, and I'm like going, recession? What recession? Because I'm around these people who have money to just piss on.
Right.
You know, I mean, they burn it, but they don't want to waste the match. You know, I mean, so I'm around these people that go, they've never heard the word recession. Their life has not changed.
Is that because they already have money?
Because they knew it was coming. You know,
right.
Everybody who is rich right now in 2007 got out of the stock market, got out of the housing market, sold all their short-term debt. They got rid of all of it, and they made a killing.
Right.
And then all the schlubs, you know, middle-class people are going, I'm in the stock market.
Right.
My 401k is gone.
Yeah.
You know, so,
yeah.
You know.
Or they decided, what cannot fail? Oh, if I'm in the medical industry, if I'm selling medical supplies, or if I'm creating anything that has to do with anybody getting sick,
right,
then I'm golden.
Yeah.
I'm golden. That's kind of like the...
All right, last thing. Current event was there was a... it's a cave in the Bighorn Mountains in north central Wyoming, and it's a cave that it's a hole in the ground is what it is. But it's called
what the fuck's the difference?
They call it a trap. They call it a trap cave, where animals for the last 100,000 years have wandered along and accidentally slipped into this cave and died because they couldn't get out. Right. So I don't know if it just happened. They started rappelling. It's 80 feet rappel down into the bottom of this cave. They're finding like prehistoric animal bones and things like that because there's not a lot of air in there, so things dry out. So they're finding like animals that are tens of thousands of years old in this cave. And so, of course, now everybody is descending on central Wyoming to get in there and see how many layers down they can go to see how many things are in there. And I thought that was awesome.
I was so hoping you'd say, and then they found an alien skull. That's what I was hoping. So they go down and they found a crystal skull. I was really hoping that was the end of that story.
And then Indiana Jones
Because you want to know
in.
something? If I know that, I would just thrown one in there and then just walked away. You know the people that like just make like a fake bone, like a vertebrae with like, you know, tentacles coming out of it, and then just throw it and then just walk away. I go, well, that's gonna confuse some archaeologists.
That'd be awesome.
Or have like a flag on a pole, but it's not the United States. It's like Jupiter.
Staked in the ground.
What the fuck?
Like the moon.
It's like going, underneath this Tyrannosaurus Rex bone, there was a microprocessor. I swear to God, it was a microprocessor.
I think that is neat. A hole or a cave.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a cave.
Okay.
But to me, it's a hole in the ground. So it's hard for me to distinguish. It's a big hole in the ground that opens up inside. And
well, if we're talking about definitions today, my definition of a cave would be if you can walk into it. A fucking hole is if you fall.
Okay, so it's a hole.
It's a hole.
It's a hole.
Goddamn hole in the wall.
Yeah, it's a hole in the ground. Okay. All right. If you need to make sure it's defined the right way, you go right ahead.
Can we focus a little bit more now on the swinger?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you kidding? I'm having a great time. Your listeners like going, this is really serious. Swinger's all about term limits. He's obviously a commie liberal based on everything he says.
Well, I'm a little surprised that you were as engaged as I was. A little nervous before you showed up because here I'm watching these interviews that you've had and you know, well, you're talking about your show and you're talking about how you entertain people and how you don't want to be trying to influence people politically or religiously or any of that stuff because you just want to entertain them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you don't have opinions.
No. I mean, it's like I said. There's a fine line between being an entertainer and then spouting your own opinion. You know, I guess Kiss. I'm a huge fan of Kiss, and you know, if you've ever seen a Kiss show, it's amazing. It's pyrotechnics. It's a show. It's an event. And then you listen to like Gene Simmons talk. It's like, oh God, why do you have to be such a D-bag all the time? Why is everything, you know? Or Paul Stanley, not as much, but. It's like, but we have opinions, and I've got an education, and I've got 3 degrees, and I read a lot. I watch stories, and I watch a lot of movies and documentaries, and you know, and I try to educate myself beyond what is just being spouted as quote unquote news.
Sure. On
Fox or MSNBC, on CNN or whatever, wherever you get it, you know, and so when when the moment arises, which does not happen very often, when someone asks you a serious question about politics or about the war or about whatever, I've got an opinion, but it's not what I do on stage. My show on stage is a much different type of. It's a show, and I've never called myself a comedian. I've always thought of myself as a showman, entertainer, and my job is to make you people laugh and have a good time. But every now and then, you get the moment to all right, this is kind of how I really think about stuff, and I believe in term limits. I believe in a form of isolationism. I believe that we should not be the world's policeman. I believe that there should be. I don't believe that we should be a welfare state, but I believe there should be a chance for everybody to succeed. There's a bill that went through Wisconsin that says you can be on welfare for 5 years. After 5 years, you're off welfare because 5 years is enough time for the state to pay you to go to college, get you an education, and get you a career. And I think 5 years on welfare is enough. After 5 years, if the state says we're going to pay for you to go to school, we're going to pay for you to get an education, we're going to pay for everything, whatever your expense is, childcare, Medicare, bills, we're going to pay every single bill. But after 5 years, it's all gone because after 5 years, you should have gotten a degree and you should be able to get a job. I think that's a great way to end the welfare system. I think it's asinine that we have an immigration problem where Republicans blame Obama for not doing enough, and then John Boehner decides to sue Obama for doing too much, and then they leave Congress, and then they recess for a vacation, and Boehner says, okay, Obama, it's your problem. After saying that we're going to sue you for doing stuff without our permission, then saying, okay, you now have our permission to do whatever you want without our permission. It's that kind of bullshit that infuriates me, that makes me realize that we have a broken system. So I don't get a chance to talk about that very often. So when it comes up, it's just fun.
I like that idea. It's almost like term limits for people on welfare.
Yes.
Term limits for people in Congress.
Absolutely.
Term limits for people on welfare. 5 years of it, everything's paid for.
Everything's paid for.
So and I think, is it Illinois that just said that if you start having more than 4 kids, you start getting less and less welfare?
Yes.
I think it was Illinois who did that.
It didn't pass, but that's what they're trying to do.
Oh, it didn't pass.
No, I mean because we have welfare families. Basically,
right.
You have
Yeah.
13-year-olds giving birth to babies because mom says, "Hey, if you have a baby, you don't have to work for the rest of your life," and that's the problem. So.
Well, there was a comedian on Joe Rogan the other day, Miss Pat. I'm sorry, not Miss Cat, Miss Pat. And she was talking about her life and how she grew up, and she said, my grandmother was, lived on welfare. My mother grew up knowing this is how you work the system, and then that's how I was raised. And she goes, it was just out of really hard work, and one day going into a welfare office and telling this woman what my life has been like, and she started laughing, going, "God damn, you're funny. Have you ever thought about being a comedian?" She just kind of tripped into that profession, and now she's a really great comedian. But the way she talked about the welfare state, and if that's all you've ever known, that's all you're ever gonna know. I mean, why would you move out of your comfort zone, and you don't even know that you have other possibilities out there?
Yeah.
So
it's always what we're afraid to, and this is the sad part where I have a problem with this great country, just an amazing country with amazing freedoms and amazing opportunities. It's an amazing country, but we've gotten afraid to make the big change. There was a time when we would deal with hardships knowing that the result would be a leap forward in moving this country forward, and we've stopped doing that. We have to make a hard choice, and it's a hard choice. It's a painful choice. It's going to make people have to change their attitudes on how they're going to live, like a welfare system, a welfare mentality. It's like, this is going to be hard. This is going to make people struggle, but it's also going to make the country better because it's going to force people to get into the workforce, into the environment, into the how this country was supposed to be, which is we're all supposed to work for the common good. This country was not founded on sitting back and having the government send you a check. That's not where our government was founded. This is all about, I'm so far from a hippie. I hate hippies. the country was actually a giant commune. We were all working together to make this country better. And now we're individuals. And that's where I think the country's gotten stagnant. So, but yeah, I love talking about this stuff. It doesn't happen very often, but I love talking about it. So, it's
This is what we do.
It's great to talk about. So, but yeah, I'll tell you a dick joke if you want me to tell you a dick joke. I'll make fun of the come and go. I'll make fun of the come and go right now.
Well,
My brother, when he came back here, he goes, "Do you realize where we were just at?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We're at the come and go." I'm like,
But
"Oh, I never thought of it that way."
yeah, it's not the name come and go that bothers me. It's the way they spell cum, K-U-M. That bothers me because one, it's spelled wrong, and two, it's spelled wrong. It's spelled wrong the wrong way because if it was K-O-M-E, okay,
Yeah,
I can
come
get that.
and get the
but
hell out.
K-U-M. Clearly, they were thinking of putting a C there. Like they spelled it the wrong way.
Well, somebody said it's like a family name.
It's a family.
Is that
name.
what it is?
Yeah.
I don't know what the actual family name is though.
It was a feed store. It was like a feed store. It was like Kaminsky's, barley and feed or whatever. And someone said, "Let's call it the come and go." And people, I tell this joke all the time. People, I have no idea why that's so funny. It's like, how many names did they passed on? How about the piss and scram? How about the dump and run? How about the ejaculate and evacuate?
Oh, I like that one. That's a great one.
It would never fit on the sign. It would never fit on the sign.
now you do a lot of. You said you do a lot of ships,
Cruise
right?
ships,
Cruise ships.
corporate events.
Oh, cool.
Now, do you have to when people are booking you or you're getting booked? Do you ever have to tell the ship like, this is what I do?
Oh no, they research me more than you probably did. I mean, you just don't walk into a cruise ship gig without them knowing everything about you.
And do you do like a show at night? I mean, how often?
2, sometimes 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you get to enjoy the cruise at all, or no? You're an employee.
No. I'm not. I'm an independent contractor. Everywhere I perform, no matter where it is, if it's a comedy club, a corporate event, a cruise ship, a casino, I'm labeled an independent contractor, which is why I'm a fiscal conservative because I got to pay double taxes.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I got to pay my own I pay taxes and then Medicaid. I that all comes out of my pocket. I don't have an employer paying half. I got to pay it all.
Right.
So that's why I'm a fiscal conservative because I want more money. But I don't really. Cruise ships I get my own cabin. I'm not sharing it. Most of the cruise ship employees have to share cabins, either 2 or 3 other people. It's either double or triple occupancy. I get my own cabin, which is nice. I get free run on the ship. I can go anywhere I want on the ship, whereas other employees of the cruise cannot.
Okay.
But it's isolated. It's a very isolated thing because I'm not. I don't drink alcohol, so that's not a problem. But you can't go to the bar. You can't play in the casino. You can't eat in the dining room. I'm talking about the dining room, the real fancy dining room where you dress up every night.
Oh, okay.
I can go to the buffet and go anywhere else I want, and you can't go into the quote unquote clubs. Like they have a dance club or a jazz club or a piano lounge. I'm not allowed to go in there. So there is this very much. But yet I'll walk the ship, and I'll get stopped for autographs, get stopped for pictures, whatever. But they're like, "Hey, let's go to the club." I go, "I can't." So it's. I don't want to say it's oh my God, it's the worst job in the world. I go, I'm making $3,000 a week. It's hard to complain,
right?
So I keep it down. But I keep myself. I've got my own radio show on WSTI Chicago called Swinger Nation Radio.
Cool.
That's syndicated around the country. I've got a new show comes out August 11th, which is 2 weeks ago. When this airs. So, I'm trying to do the math in my head. So 2 weeks ago from when this airs, August 11th, my pilot episode of Swinger Says, my new TV show, airs.
Right.
It comes out on August 11th.
Is that online? Who is it?
It's going to be online, Stars Digital Media, hopefully iTunes. We're trying to get my team is trying to get Netflix to buy 12 episodes that we just put online. They just download them all the time. We filmed 3. We filmed one in Vegas, which is available now as I'm speaking. to you people in the past, because I'm in the future. Talking to you people in the past. Right now, technically, it's not online, but when you people are listening to it, it will be online. That was filmed in Vegas, filmed one in Bermuda, filmed one in New York City. By the time this airs, probably 2 of them will be available for download, and we're doing it for free. It's all for free.
And is this your stand-up? Or
No. It's called Swinger Says. It's basically me, the Swinger David Scott, in a location. Like, for example, I was in Bermuda, and I do a top 10. I count down top 10 things. But it's not like top 10 albums. It's like one in Bermuda, we count down the top 10 condiments. Ketchup, mustard, relish. And the idea was, here I am in Bermuda with beaches and women in bikinis, and I'm talking about mustard. And that was the idea, that was the idea. Like, here I am in this amazing location, I'm talking about condiments.
Okay.
And we pitched this idea to a couple of studios, and they thought it was really funny. No green screen, no studio, because I'm so sick of seeing things on television where they got a person with the green screen. I am so over CGI and green screen, I can't tell you. So I decided to go old school with it. I decided to go, back to, boots on the ground type of thing, And then the one in New York we filmed, and that's top 10 candy bars. Here I am in New York City, Times Square, and I'm talking about candy bars, which was really funny. And the one in Vegas was actually about games of chance. So we filmed those 3, and it's very exciting. So when I'm on these cruise ships, bring the story back full circle.
Sure.
When I'm on the cruise ship, I'm either recording my radio show, like you guys record in advance. I can record in advance, and it's a music heavy show. It's music that I play, but I tell stories about each song or whatever.
Okay.
And then I'll be writing the script for the next Swinger Says, or so I do keep myself busy, which keeps me out of trouble, because a lot of comics and entertainers, the reason they don't work cruise ships is because they get themselves in trouble. They get in trouble. They get they're fraternizing, they're drinking, they're getting drunk and stuff like that. And that's so when you do a cruise ship, for all you young comics out there,
it's a job.
Bring a shitload of stuff to keep you busy.
Because it can be great as long as you.
The ports are amazing. I'll tell you something. The best thing about the cruise ships is when you get off the ship and you see places that I would never have gotten a chance to go to Bermuda, just to go to Bermuda, and I didn't pay for it, I got a chance to just walk around Bermuda for a day, and I would never have had that opportunity in the past, Or I got to go to Denali Pass up in Alaska when I went.
It's amazing.
I was performing on Royal Caribbean, and I would never have had that opportunity, So I consider I without a doubt know how lucky I am. I know I work hard. I've been doing this since I was 6 years old. My dad was a Broadway performer.
Yeah, we read that.
Yeah, my dad was a Broadway performer. I've been doing this since my first time on stage. I was 6 years old. My first time I was doing comedy. I was 16 at Catch a Rising Star. I work really hard at what I do, just like everybody does. Everybody works really hard at what they do. But I also know that I was insanely lucky, and breaks happen and the right things happen. So I know how lucky I am. I know how fortunate I am to have a lifestyle that allows me to not only do what I love, which is amazing, but to make money so that I am comfortable doing what I love.
Right.
And I know how lucky I am. I know how fortunate, and I know that it's what I call the Swinger Nation, the people who've come to my show for years. I'm not famous. I've done HBO, I've done Comedy Central, but I'm not a sitcom star. I'm not a household name. But yet when I go to a club, like September 20th, I'll be at Penguins for one night only, and it'll probably be sold out. Even though I'm a nobody, I mean, I'm
kind of a grassroots kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not like a D.L. Hughley or Joe Rogan, who's just by name alone will sell 500 tickets.
Right.
So I thank the Swinger Nation every single day. Every time I get a chance, I thank them, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. Which is why all I try to do is entertain them. Which is all I try to do. I'm not trying to tell you on stage why Obama has been royally fucked over by the Republicans, or why gas prices are so high because this is a giant cartel. That's not my job.
The Illuminati.
The Illuminati. That's not my job. My job is if you come to my show, No matter what you hear me say today, when you come to my show, if you're in a bad mood, if you've had a bad day, if you had an argument with your boss, or your husband is, not treating the way you think, and you're just in a bad mood, I want to have a night out, you come to my show, I guarantee you, I'm the only comic in the world, I give you 100% guarantee, you will walk out of my show. If you stay from the very beginning to the very, very end, you will walk out singing. I absolutely guarantee you will all walk out singing. You'll have a smile on your face, your toes will be tapping, and you'll be like, I cannot believe that was so much fun. And you'll walk out of the show singing. You'll be humming. You'll be whistling. I had
that song stuck in my head because I forget which video I watched where you were putting golf balls in your mouth.
Marshmallows. The world's most dangerous bit in comedy.
There you go. And so I had that goddamn Michael McDonald song in my head.
Yeah. What I guarantee
from that point on.
My show has got music. It's got impressions. It's got stand-up. It's got costume changes. It's got mind reading, a straitjacket. There's always music. And that's why when you do my show, you'll have music in your head. I guarantee you. I heard him sing, and then like you, 3 days later, you'll hear his song go, oh, fuck you, Swinger. Because I have ruined songs for so many people.
Oh, okay.
In a good way.
You're right.
I get just heard what a fool believes on the radio. The song has been ruined forever for me. Thank you.
Are you going to be down at Penguins because of the anniversary, the 25th anniversary, or are you just in town for a gig?
No, just one night, September 20th. Yeah.
Well, I'll have to get a hold of Jeff and see if we can pull that off.
Get some tickets ahead of time.
September. If you guys want to come on down,
that'd be awesome.
You want to?
Well, we had Tim Sullivan on. He's going to be down opening for Bob Saget at Riverside, so I'm going to try to see that one as well.
Yeah. Tim's a buddy of mine.
Is he?
Yeah, Tim's a buddy of mine. I've known Tim since when he just started. So I've been helping him out. He's a great, funny comic. I'm the reason he wears a tie now. I'm the reason he wears a tie. I got so sick of him looking like he just got done mowing someone's lawn and walked on stage.
Yeah.
I said,
so he wears a tie.
I just said, wear a goddamn tie. Wear the shirt, but wear a tie. So we play poker together. Tim and I play poker together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
I was going to ask you, because the outfits and the hair, when you get the hair all done up and the outfit, that's like a real attention grabber.
Yes.
Are those extensions, by the way?
No. It's all real, baby. I know both of you really hate me because of my hair. Because I got a lot.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. I know. I know when you get two guys that are, follically challenged.
I love that term, follically challenged. God, that's great.
And then I walk in with just all this. It's like, hey,
that's right, asshole.
Well, that's a lot darker than in the videos that I saw.
Yeah. Well, I'm on.
You changed it up.
Well, I'm taking. I've been taking a 6-week break from. I was on the road for 10 straight weeks, and I built in this 6-week break between end of July and September 5th, just to recharge my battery.
Awesome.
I knew I was working on my TV show. I knew I had to take a break, so I just took some time off and just let the hair go.
So is your home in Cedar Rapids?
Yeah.
And how'd you get back? If your parents were on Broadway, it sounds like New York. So how'd you get back here?
Born in Queens. Without getting into it, lived in L.A., lived in Vegas, and then moved to Iowa. Ex-wife got a job out here.
Okay.
And clearly, X is the key. And now,
and you have a daughter from this relationship.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. She was born here. And she's a senior this year, and she graduates. And then as soon as she graduates, she'll probably move, and I'll probably move too. So this is probably my last year.
Do you know where you're going to go? Would it be LA or New York, somewhere where it's going to be?
It would never be LA. Fucking hate it.
I hate fucking Los Angeles. I'm with you, man. I hate LA.
It could be Portland. It could be Seattle. It could be Los Vegas. It could be there's like 5. It could be New York, which I'm from, or it could be Florida. All depends on how the cruise ship things. If I start getting a lot of cruise ship work, I want to be near a port.
Oh, sure.
Which could be Miami, Fort Lauderdale, or New York City. I love Vegas. My ultimate dream gig is my own show in Vegas. That's all I've been just want to have my own show in Vegas. All I've ever wanted.
That's cool.
But it probably won't be the Midwest. My parents moved from New York to St. Louis, so.
Okay.
But I'll probably be done with the Midwest in about next 16, 17 months. I'll probably be done with the Midwest and probably go back to one of the coasts.
Cool.
So.
Well, I'm a huge fan of Seattle, and I've never been to Portland. I've always wanted to go there.
It's kind of like a cleaner version of Seattle.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it you know Seattle's just weird. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Seattle's weird. All right. Portland is weirder.
Gotcha. But cleaner.
But cleaner.
But
You
cleaner.
know, they know that they're better than everybody else. And they let you know. Here, this is a joke that I do. And it's a funny joke that if you live in Illinois, no matter where you live in Illinois, I don't care where it is, you say, hey, where do you live? Oh, I'm about 5 hours south of Illinois. And I go, that's Kentucky. You know, no, I'm about 5 hours south of Chicago. I go, that's Kentucky. Or I'm about 3 hours. I'm 3 hours east of Chicago. Well, that's Iowa. Well, I'm about 4 hours north of Chicago. You know, everybody. If you live in Illinois, you tell people where you live based on your distance from Chicago.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for Chicago, Illinois would be Iowa.
Right. Absolutely right.
In Portland, they're the exact same way, but you don't even have to ask them where they're from. Hi, I'm from Portland. As soon as you meet them, hi, my name's Steve. I'm from Portland. I'm Bill. How you doing? They let everybody know they're from Portland.
Well, and I like New York a lot too. I've only been there one time, and I got to spend a good almost a week there. And man, I really liked it. A lot of people though, but the different kind of. I mean, there's a lot of people in LA as well, but that's why I can't stand Los Angeles, because there's so many people, and it's a really superficial place. But New York has a tremendous amount of people too, but the vibe is totally different.
Yeah, it's an absolute.
It's really a neat place.
It's an amazing feeling, you know. The thing about LA is that there were a lot of people spread out over a vast area, and it still seems like too many people.
Yeah.
Whereas in New York, there's a lot of people in one area, but yet you're still able to walk down the street.
Right.
You know, you don't. Yeah, it's busy, but you don't feel claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Whereas because in LA, as you probably are aware, you drive everywhere, so you're stuck in your car, you're stuck in traffic, you just. Where in New York, you're walking or taking the train everywhere, and you never feel trapped. That's the difference. In LA, you feel trapped. In New York, you feel free. That's
that's a good way to put it.
The vibe, the energy, the excitement, just every day is just something. When I'm in New York every day, you wake up like going, okay, it's gonna be a fun day.
Yeah, you know, what's gonna happen?
We're in LA like going, I gotta drive down to Santa Monica. Oh my god, I don't want to drive.
Well, like UCLA campus is 42 miles across.
Yeah,
that's how big UCLA campus is.
Yeah.
It's fucking enormous.
Massive.
And nothing changes. I mean, at least when you get to Northern California, you'll hit like Monterey, you'll hit Santa Cruz, you'll hit towns going up Highway 1. Yeah. Once you hit like Santa Barbara, it just all blends together all the way to San Diego.
Orange County, Upland, San Bernardino, that whole area, just Riverside.
It's just gross. Yeah. And I have an aunt who I have a great aunt who lives in Malibu. She's lived there for years.
And you keep wanting to drag me out there.
Because I want you to see where I grew up in the Bay Area. It's totally different than Los Angeles by a long shot.
San Francisco, you're right. Once you pass by, let's see. Once you get above Merced, I say, once you pass by Merced, you start heading north. And of course, you're talking about, I know exactly what you're talking about. You're literally going, oh, God, the goddamn map swinger. All right. If you're in LA, you take PCH. Oh, there's Merced. Okay. Once you get above Merced, it becomes a very beautiful area. It really becomes, it's scenic.
Yeah.
That's when PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway, for all the people out there.
There you go.
Stop talking.
Highway 1. No. Yeah, stop talking in code, goddammit. Tell them what you're talking about.
It's like, I was like, all of a sudden, can we be more inside right now?
That's right. We're way too cool to explain ourselves.
We're just a bunch of fucking elitists.
Exactly.
Have you ever been in the PCH in a Stingray convertible? Oh, my God. That's the best.
Hey, for everybody out there who's listening going, I didn't know what PCH meant. Well, neither did I. That's okay. You're still part of me.
But that's one of the things. People do that for like vacations and like honeymoons. They'll take PCH from the Bay Area, San Francisco, all the way to LA.
Yeah.
Because it's a beautiful thing. It takes forever.
Although the better trip is from LA up to the Bay.
There you go. Yeah.
Because every time you drive, it becomes more and more pretty. If you drive from San Francisco down to LA, it's like, this is getting more and more depressing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why my wife and I did when we got married on the beach in Half Moon Bay. It was like I said, let's go on Highway 1 in San Francisco, and we'll just drive down and we find a spot we like. We'll stop and we'll get married.
And but to all the listeners, stay away from Oakland. Okay, you've been warned. Just stay away from Oakland.
Just stay away from Oakland.
Stay away from Oakland. Trust me on this one. Just stay away. Unless you want to be shot by rappers, stay away from Oakland.
Hey, I was going to ask you. I started to go down that route, and I don't know how we got off. You do all your costumes and everything for your show.
Yes.
That has got to cost a ton.
Yes. But my dad taught me you have to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
You can eat that chicken shit or chicken salad, So if you want to, I think the reason that my show, like I said, not that I'm famous or anything, but the reason people remember me is because of the way I look, and I'm a memory. They may not remember my name. They'll go, "Oh, that guy with the blonde hair and
his presentation,"
and they go, "Oh yeah, the swinger." And people just call me Swinger. People have been calling me Swinger now for about 5 years. Hey Swinger, hey Swinger, hey Swinger. It was funny. I was actually in Fort Wayne, Indiana, like 7 months ago, and I was walking in the food court, about to go to Panda Express because I like authentic Chinese food made by Mexicans. And I'm ordering orange chicken. I hear that, Swinger, we love you. And I turn around. It's this guy. I'm like, what? But they remember me because I feel like I'm a fan of the Rat Pack. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sam Davis Jr. And they dressed up on stage. They wore tuxedos. They were nice. They put on a show that you will pay money to see. I've always had a problem with entertainers, either musicians or comedians, who walk on stage who look like they just woke up. I'm just going to throw on any T-shirt. I know these jeans are dirty, but who cares? I'm like going...
Have some self-worth, kind of, like present something that's...
There's a really bad movie called Leap of Faith, Steve Martin. Really bad. I'm a huge Steve Martin fan. Love Steve Martin. He's probably my biggest comedic role model. Leap of Faith. He played a huckster faith healer. And he had this one line. He was dressing up. He had this young kid who was following him around who wanted to get into the racket. And Steve is putting on all these diamond rings, this necklace, puts on this really fancy, shiny coat. And the guy goes, "Why do you dress like that?" Steve Martin goes, "Always look better than the audience." And you want to know something? He's absolutely right. Because if you look better than the audience, they're going to pay attention. It's like, this guy's trying. This guy's actually trying to impress me. If you look like the guy who just served your drinks to you at the bar, are you really going to pay attention to that? Are you really going to look at a guy? If you go to a comedy club and you have no idea who you sing, you're going to a comedy club blind. There's no marquee, there's no pictures. You just walk in and say, "Tonight, David Scott." And you sit down, and I walk on stage and I look just like you. Or I look just like you. Not that you look bad, but I'm wearing a T-shirt that says, full tilt. I'm wearing jeans, or I'm wearing khaki pants, that are not really they're not pressed. Would you be impressed with that? Because remember, we're not talking about comedy, we're talking about first impressions.
Right.
We're talking about first impressions. I could end up being the funniest guy I've ever met, and you forget about that. But would you, first impression, be like, "I just paid $15 to see this"? Or I walk on stage, or an entertainer walks on stage, looking different, looking
you
sharp.
You got the Evil Knievel outfit going on.
Wearing a full-fledged leather Evil Knievel outfit, whatever. You'd be like, "Oh, I gotta pay attention to this. This is something."
And that's got to be hot as fuck.
Yeah, it is. And he's like, "Okay," but so immediately, comedy, you got to win over the audience. You got to win them over. And if I come on stage dressed the way I'm dressed, I've already got your attention. You've already don't have a negative opinion about me. You've got to, okay, this is going to be good. How you can't dress that way and not be good. You got to have an air of confidence, and that relaxes the. I think it relaxes the audience. I think people go, "Okay, he's a professional." Go to any open mic night, and then go to a real comedy show, and you'll see the difference between what I'm talking about. The comics are thinking like, "Oh, I'm unshaven. I've got a 3-day growth, or wearing a baseball hat turned sideways." No one gives a shit about that. People will not pay money to see you ever. Unless you're super famous,
right.
Then you can wear whatever you want.
Right.
So
now that confidence, you kind of say in a way, which I liked. You were being interviewed by a news organization about your Guinness Book of World Records because you hold the record for the longest performance ever.
Longest stand-up comedy show by an individual. 40 hours and 8 minutes.
Which is pretty fucking amazing.
Thank you.
Because
it's almost 2 days. Jesus.
It's a work week.
Good Lord Almighty.
Yeah.
I perform for a work week without stopping.
I mean, there's people that are like, oh, fuck, I just worked 12 hours. I just can't do another hour.
Yeah, I call them pussies.
But you say you did it, like, they asked you, like, how did you get through it? And you said, well, I got it. It was ego. All ego.
It was ego. Yeah, I had to. I had invested so much money. People won't realize the thousands of dollars that I spent to not only prepare. I started preparing for that thing 8 months before it happened. The amount of money I spent preparing for it, getting my team. I had a 3-person team that I had to pay for everything to be out there, and even and have Guinness even recognize it and certify it and have them do. I mean, it was thousands of dollars, and then I had people coming because it was at the Diamond Joe Casino in Dubuque. I had people coming from California, New York, St. Louis, Florida to come see me, but they weren't going to get there until like the second day. So I had to do it, I mean, because if I quit and they show up and go, what happened? Oh, yeah, he quit. Well, these people just wasted their time.
Yeah.
These are people that I knew would give me nothing but grief,
right.
So it was pure ego. It was absolute ego kept me going. And my buddy Dwayne Clark, a comedian out of Des Moines, he just said to me, because I almost quit at 26 hours. At 26 hours, I hit a wall hard. And I was actually in the green room doing one of my I got a 5-minute break every hour. I was actually in the green room on the floor in the fetal position, just shaking. And he took me outside with like 3 minutes, goes, forget about the crowd, forget about the audience, forget about being funny. It's you and the clock. That's it. It's you and the clock. Just tell your jokes like a robot, Just tell your jokes. And I'll tell you something. Once he said that to me, I was like going, okay, it's just me and the clock. So I started just like going through my jokes. And if they laughed, they laughed. They didn't. And luckily they laughed. The jokes were funny, but I was no longer trying to, entertain and perform. I was just trying to get through it. So, yeah, but it's all ego. Anything like that's all about ego. So,
but, it's a good way to hold yourself accountable. If you know somebody's coming, I can't not be here.
Oh yeah,
that's
right.
That's
and
fucked up.
And my dad, my mom and dad, my dad's is 72, my mom is 62, and they were driving up from St. Louis to see me, and they were going to be there for like the last 3 hours, because they couldn't get there because they could not get there. If they're going to be, we'll be there for like the last 3 hours. Watch, if I wasn't doing it and I quit, my dad would just have given me the biggest load of shit because he's a performer. You're like, going, so when did you puss out? When
Is he still performing, your dad?
No, he does the occasional. He's a singer, so he does the occasional performance for friends and functions, but nothing massive. Small groups of like 75, 150, something like that. So
is he like one of your biggest motivators or supporters growing up? I mean, he was in the entertainment industry, but he did say, make sure you get an education in case this comedy thing doesn't work out, right?
My dad, he's probably one of the main reasons I'm a comedian, not a singer dancer, because that's what he is. He's a singer, and I'm a comedian, is because he told me all these great stories, and he always had all these people around him laughing at him, and I thought, well, so much people laughing. What a great way to have people, have a big group of people around you laughing. But he said to me, get an education, but don't not try to do this. Get the education, but as soon as you get the education, don't just try. Don't make a half-hearted effort. Really try to become a comedian. Really try to do it. That's why 3 days after I graduated college, I was in my car driving to L.A. 1993. I was in my car 3 days after graduating, in my car by myself, driving to L.A. Thinking, okay, I'm going out here. This is it. And he was my biggest fan, biggest supporter. He still writes me jokes. Horrible, crappy jokes. You should do a joke. You should do a bit about this. Or what about this? Or what? ATM. We memorize a lot of numbers. There's got to be a bit there. No, there isn't. No, thanks. But and to this day, I talked to him right before. When your neighbor was like, "Who are you talking to?" I was actually talking to my dad before I came in here. Always one of my biggest fan. Always asking me about shows and stuff like that. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Maybe someday you can take all of his crappy jokes and turn it into.
Good chance I have my dad listen.
I mean, because if you can take going to Bermuda and talking about your top 10 condiments, you might have some gold.
my top 10.
Be a great book.
Yeah, the top 10 jokes.
Book of my dad's shitty jokes.
Yeah,
Be a great book.
Shitty jokes. Dad's shitty jokes. That's funny. So yeah, but yeah, my dad is. It was so great because you always hear about comics being, oh, I had no one helping me. I was on my own. I was abused. I was homeless. I had the greatest upbringing. You know, my parents. I love my mom and dad. I owe them the world, and you know, and I couldn't have done it without them. They were my biggest fans. When I was sucking, when I was having a hard time, and like, no, keep on going. You can do this. You know, when I was going to quit after 3 years, no, you can do this. You know, so. Very fortunate. Like again, I'm not a religious person. I'm in not even a near stretch of the imagination, but I know I'm fortunate, blessed, whatever you want to call it, to be where I am. I know the love of my mom and dad, and it helps a lot. So
yeah, because as a parent myself, I can't imagine. I would like to think that I would be the type of parent that'd be like, "Oh, you want to be a performance artist and you want to blow paint out your asshole." Get your degree.
Okay, get your degree.
And then really work on pushing that paint out your asshole like nobody's business. Don't give up after 3 years. I know your sphincter is just blown out.
Maybe some glitter. Add some glitter.
Yeah, add glitter. You have to have a costume when you're doing this. I would love to think that I would be that supportive.
Yeah.
But there's so many parents nowadays that are like, no. That's you don't want to do that.
We have become a very Puritan society. We no longer encourage creativity. That's why I feel. You know, my daughter, who is starting her senior year in high school, which is, if you know, you have a 20-year-old. Senior year in high school is the year. Everything is kind of bullshit. And then the senior year, then reality is like, oh crap, okay, this is it. This is really it.
You're ready to step out.
And my daughter really is into anime. She's really into comic books and really wants to get into the comic book industry. And we were having this conversation just not a week ago. Okay, for you listeners, 4 weeks ago, I had this conversation. I'm just going to call back that joke until you fuckers laugh.
We laugh every time.
No, not you. The part about people.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Yeah, you fuckers laugh.
And she says, I want to do comic books. I want to get comic books. So I'm starting to help her. Okay, let's look at Dark Horse. Let's look at DC. Do they have small houses that you can intern at where you can get?
Yeah,
so,
sure.
And I'm being that support because it is a pay it forward mentality. My mom and dad were very supportive of me. I'm going to be very supportive of her, hoping that when she has kids, she will then understand you've got to pay it forward. We have to have a society of people that are not just lawyers and doctors. We have to have people that make us laugh, that make us entertain. I was talking to a guy asking me, he was having a hard time getting work. I've never been busier. Since 2008, I've never been busier. Since the quote-unquote recession or depression, whatever I want to call it. I've never been busier. I've never had more bookings. I've never had turned down more because I'm already booked. And I was talking to a guy on the radio. I was like, why do you think that is? I go, because during this time, people need to laugh. They need to entertain. That's why back in the 20s and the 30s during the Great Depression, vaudeville was so huge. Because people were just, I need to escape. I need to get away. During the darkest times throughout history, it was the laughter and the musicians that kept people from completely becoming barbaric. Just look through history. And I honestly believe that I've been so busy because we have had strife. And it's getting better. If you don't believe it's getting better, you're being brainwashed by somebody because it's getting better. The economy is getting better. Jobs are getting better. Wages are getting better. We are coming through this dark period, and things are getting better. And I believe we get better because we have a small percent of our society that is our job to entertain you and to make you laugh and to make you and to escape for a moment. Be it YouTubers, be it podcasts, be it whatever, there is a group of people that have taken upon themselves to go, you want to know something? I'm done being depressed. and I'm done being sad, and I'm going to make people laugh. I'm going to entertain. And I believe that we need to cultivate that mentality in our kids and in the future generations. So there are comedians, that there are writers, that there are musicians, that there are people that are creative that keep us from completely becoming like this totally industrial society like Gattaca, where there is no creativity. There is just, Elysium.
Well, and you think about them cutting art programs, cutting music programs, cutting PE.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pisses me
schools
off.
cutting the things that really do allow a kid to be creative.
Cutting the NEA, cutting the National Endowment of the Arts. All this stuff. We can't. We can't do that. We have to encourage. We have to push forward this idea that you don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a factory worker. You can create. Because that's what keeps our society from turning into. I mean, this is the best example I give, and I don't want to, stereotype the whole thing, but look at some of the most oppressive Muslim states. Where the Sharia law, where they're miserable and they're angry. They have no artists. They have no comedians. They have nothing. They're just angry, And you look at it, and you go back to some of our American history, the Puritan societies where they were just, angry and,
really super uptight.
Uptight. They had nobody to make them laugh or make them smile or make them dance. I mean, I don't want to say like fucking Footloose, like but every society needs that. Whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Hindu, whether you're a Christian, whether you're Jewish, doesn't matter. You can't just say no to all laughter, and that's what they're freaking doing in Thailand and in North Korea. People in North Korea are miserable. Yeah. When was the last time you heard of a great comic coming out of fucking North Korea? You haven't. Yeah. That's why they're so fucking miserable. And I honestly believe that.
Or you'll be shot.
Or we're shot, It's like, sorry to hear about her, Kim Jong-Kush. All right.
Well, it's horrible. Some of those pictures they show of like a group of people that are all smiling in front of him. And if you look really close, though, they're all like on the verge of tears because they're all fucking petrified, like just waiting for him to pull out a firing squad.
Yep.
And they're all kind of smiling, but it's so pained. Yeah. The kids are all crying because they don't have any way of repressing their natural feelings.
Yeah. I used to work for a company that was South Korean owned, and when the owners would come and visit, and it's just here in Cedar Rapids, but when the owners would come, the South Koreans that were here to work and to manage would just start throwing up because they were just so in awe and so stressed. They had these people on such a pedestal. So here's the owner. Here's this. I mean, this guy like dined with Bush. He's got that much money, that much influence. He's coming through the factory. He's shaking people's hands. He's talking to people, and all the other South Koreans are kind of following behind. Just about ready to throw up. And he comes up to one guy, just this super disgruntled union worker. And he goes, "Hey, how's it going? How's your day going?" And this guy wouldn't shake his hand. He wouldn't smile at him. He turned his back on this guy and walked away. Now, if you came from that society, if you came from South Korea and you're barfing just at the idea, oh, the boss is here. And then I'm going to take him on a tour of the plant, and there's going to be this one American asshole union guy who takes everything so much for granted.
Right.
Oh, piss on you, dude. I'm not going to give you any respect. I'm not going to shake your hand. I'm going to turn my back on you. Just the idea of how different our cultures can be.
Yeah. I remember, what was that comedy movie, Michael Keaton, Gung Ho? Remember that?
Yeah, sure.
And those people were having to go through, like, they had to go and scream and yell at themselves and, like, degrade themselves because they weren't keeping up with the policies.
Was that Japanese?
It was Japanese.
Yeah. They were failing at their job. They were failing, and they had to go through, like, this training.
There you go.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of Americans who were just, like, assumed that they should have a car plant there, assumed they should have a job. Yeah. So I liked that movie because it was...
Yeah, it was a little bit ahead of its time, though.
Yeah, it was. I agree.
If you watch it now, it's like, okay, now that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Back in the 80s, okay, weren't you just Mr. Mom?
That's right.
Yeah.
And then your next movie was Batman. That's a leap, Michael. I love
So what was that? What was it? Gung Ho?
Gung Ho.
Ho.
So watch that movie, Gung Ho, because it's very
It's more timely now than it was back in the 80s.
Yeah, you'll
And Mr.
appreciate it.
A friend of mine's dad in California, in the Bay Area, wrote the book that was turned into Mr. Mom, the movie. Because
cool.
he stayed home with the kids while she had her job stuff. And so he just wrote about his life raising my buddy and his sister and his brother. And they turned it into Mr. Mom.
That's cool.
Wasn't that kind of neat?
That's cool.
Hey, technology-wise, how you doing on technology? You
I keep
stay up with it?
Yeah.
You Skype?
Yeah. I don't like to, but
I mean, is that how you basically? I mean, you're gone a lot. You're traveling a lot. How do you keep in touch with your fam?
Well, yeah. Skype and video chats on the phone. Now the phones are, crazy what you can do on phones, and But yeah, technology. I've always tried to stay up to speed with it, but at some point I'm like going, yeah, I'm done. It's like going, gotta get the Xbox 360. Nope, really not. Absolutely not.
This thing's a goddamn miracle. I love this thing. If I didn't have this thing anymore, I'm one of those people that I now realize, even though I came from the era of Pong and and in black and white TVs, you know what I mean? The idea of not having this form of communication anymore is just mind-boggling. Unless the world, an apocalypse happened, and we had no more, electricity, and we all had to stop using this.
It's like having a little pocket Jesus.
It is. You're out of touch. I mean, you're completely out of touch.
All I know is that when the zombie apocalypse comes, I'm going to last a day, maybe a day and a half.
Why is that?
Without electricity and hairspray, I'm a fucking dead. I'm going to come to your guys' house. You guys got all the MMA equipment out there, the ground and pound stuff.
We'll protect you. Come on.
I'm the Oriental guy who gets the hot British chick. You guys are the ones going out there and killing zombies.
There you go.
So,
have you read the book World War Z? Not the Brad Pitt movie, but the book.
No, I've not read the book. Although I hear it's very, very. It's much better than the movie.
Oh, well, I saw the movie completely separate from. Don't think of it as being a representative of the book. I think it's a good movie, but if it's not at all like the book at all. Right. So that's why they shouldn't even have the same name as far as I'm concerned. But great. The only
thing I liked about that World War Z is that when you become a zombie, depending on which version of zombie you're going to be, you become one or two zombies. One, the slow moving, or you become like fucking Usain Bolt fast.
You see, that's
that's like why can't you just be a zombie and then I was kind of a fat fuck as a zombie and I didn't move very fast. That's how fast you were. I was a sprinter before. I can now still sprint. Why you have to become a slow moving snail or like fucking Usain Bolt running because if you become Usain Bolt as a zombie, I'm not even gonna run. I'm just gonna stand there. Why? What's the point of running, dude? Because you're gonna.
Well, see, that's the thing. When I saw the preview for the movie, I was like, well, gee, because in the book they're all the slow-moving zombies. But the best part about the book is there's the Battle of York, which is from in New York City, where they had all their ammunition and things set up because all these zombies were coming. Well, within I don't know how many hours, they're out of ammunition and they're all going to die anyways because there's not enough ammunition to kill them. And they're just slow-moving zombies in the book too. Right. But there's 5 million of them coming out of New York City, and nobody has enough bullets for that. And so there's ways of having to try to find other ways of surviving because you're not going to have enough ammunition to take care of it. It's totally different than that crazy sprinting.
What I do love about zombies and these quote unquote doomsday preppers, I'm on Twitter, and please follow me on Twitter because I'm really goofy on Twitter. It's at theswingerDS, and I say really bizarre shit on Twitter.
I love
Twitter. Which is kind of like off my.
We'll make sure we have links to all your stuff too.
And I wrote a tweet going, do you think doomsday preppers wake up every morning going, shit, the world's still here?
They do.
Because I mean, if your entire life is like spent like preparing for the end of the world, and every day the end of the world doesn't end. It's like, God damn it.
Well, that sounds exhausting.
It does. It sounds
Jesus Christ. I mean, if you're always, you're not living for the moment.
How many marriages ended after 2012? How many marriages ended after the year 2000. The Y2K bug. Oh, the Y2K. Oh, Y2K. Yeah, it's the next day. Nothing's changed. Everything's cool.
I was like,
you fucker. You made me do what? We got rid of our savings for what?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've been living in this bunker for how long?
You convinced me of bullshit.
I love how they're always on the run and they're carrying around rifles and bullets. I go, if you've never carried a like 40 cal bullets, they're heavy. The bullet, whatever it's called, the case.
Yeah,
bullet,
right.
Yeah.
You know, it's made out of metal. You just can't walk with it. It's heavy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
bullets are heavy. I mean,
He used to carry a saw in the army.
Yeah, 100 rounds of 44s, like 50 pounds. You just go throw that over your back and just start running
around.
No, you're not.
Well, there's a couple of reasons why there's a 3-man team as a 60 gunner team. I used to be a 60 gunner. I did the saw also, but there's a 3-person team, and one guy, all he does is carry the ammunition. His whole rucksack is filled with nothing but ammunition.
It's fucking heavy.
Yeah. So doing the zombie apocalypse, people carrying around a shitload of ammunition, yeah, it's not gonna happen.
No, it's not
gonna happen.
It's like I've gone 15 steps. I gotta take a break. Zombies are behind us. Well, we're fighting them with sticks because you know that's
Yeah.
why Daryl. He's like Daryl's got a crossbow. This is The Walking Dead, obviously. And he's got a crossbow. He's been 4 seasons. 4 seasons. He's used 3 goddamn arrows. in
Yeah,
4
he always
seasons.
just has 3, and then he pulls it back.
Pulls it back out.
He shoots him. He walks up to a zombie, kills him, walks up, pulls it. No, you don't walk up. There's other zombies around you. Oh my God.
Is that one of your
love
favorite
that
shows?
show.
Do you get-
I love it.
This last season of Walking Dead kind of made me get back into it, but the seasons 2 and 3 sucked.
Yeah, they were kind of
You know,
slow.
season 1 was brilliant.
Yeah. And then season 2, they're
was-
always on that road.
Season 2 was horrible. Season 3, they were in the farmhouse, and that was just fucking stupid. You know, the season 4 was actually much better.
At the prison.
Yeah, the prison. And season 5 looks to be really good. Soon,
Yeah, I
so.
hope it.
But
And is this it?
The comic is actually it's kind of like World War Z the book. The comic, don't read the comic if you like the TV show because you will be pissed off after the second comic.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, the people you think are alive now in the comic died way early.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, what's the difference between a comic book and a graphic novel, or
Same
is that
thing,
the same
same
thing?
thing, same
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Because I always considered comic books like the paper comic books I used to buy when I was really little,
Yeah.
and I thought of the graphic novel as more of like books,
Much denser.
much denser.
Sometimes they'll take a comic book. They'll take like a run of like Batman or whatever, which would be like a 12-issue run, and then they'll take all those 12 issues and put them into one novel.
Okay.
So you're not buying just a little paper book. You're buying basically the graphic novel.
Is your daughter like the ebook comic books, because you can go frame by frame?
No. She likes to draw them herself, and she likes the paper where you actually buy the book and stuff.
Is she looking to go to, I mean, 'cause she could easily go to school for like fine arts. Is she not, is that the route she wants to go?
But that's not what she wants to do. You know, she doesn't want to waste her time, and I kind of respect it. You know, I don't want to go to learn how to do cubism. You
Right.
know, I don't want to learn how to sculpt. I'm not going to be a sculptor. You know, I want to kind of do this thing. So I kind of respect it. So
That's cool.
And if she wants to go to school, she'll go to school. But she's already said
Well, the idea of an internship at a place like that
seems like a lot better.
makes sense.
Has she gone to Comic-Con?
No, we were going to go to Comic-Con this year, but we went to New York instead. We'll go to Comic-Con next year. So and she'll walk down Artist Alley and have her stuff, rated and looked at and kind of get into some critiques.
This October, there's going to be an event called Icon this October here in Cedar Rapids at the Marriott Hotel.
Is that the same thing as Anime Iowa? Now it's called Icon? There used to be one called Anime Iowa.
It might be.
That she goes to every year at the Marriott.
Okay.
But if it's called Icon this year, they may have changed the name, but yeah.
Yeah, Aaron Bunce, who wrote the book that we were talking about, that he's been on, the book is called Within. And so he's going to be there signing books, and he said it's like a miniature Comic-Con. It's like a version of Comic-Con.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of those. One in St. Louis, Chicago, Minneapolis, and all this stuff. We're going to go to all of those, but I actually want her to experience. She does go to anime, but she used to dress up she used to cosplay. So she's all into that. But now she kind of wants to go into the more of the not the fun side of it, but more of the business side of it. So yeah. But I thought it was called Anime Iowa, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
What's the appeal of dressing up?
Are you really?
Is it escapism?
Oh yeah. We did. Did you play Cowboys and Indians? Did you pretend that you were? Would you pretend you were a spaceman? Did you?
No, my parents are fucked up. I didn't do anything fun like that.
What are you talking about? Your dad was in theater.
I'm just kidding. He is now, but not he wasn't before.
Did you ever play Army with your friends? Did you ever do anything that involved imagination?
Right. Sure.
Same exact thing.
Exact same.
I think.
But I mean, part of me thinks though the difference is, I was a child in one, and now I'm an adult. Not that I can't enjoy myself as an adult, but I mean, is that people that just they like the idea of escaping something and doing something that they
I
like
think it's
to do.
no different than an adult going to play a round of golf and dressing up as Payne Stewart or dressing up as a white pimp, whatever.
Sure.
I think it's a way to. This is your hobby.
Okay.
It's a hobby. That's my opinion.
That makes sense.
I mean, I don't get it. I mean, I don't think I'd dress up as SpongeBob and walk around a convention and, sign on. I would do, but I know people that do.
Yeah.
I've actually,
And some of these costumes are absolutely incredible.
I've actually created 3 costumes for my daughter. I mean, literally just sat down and
I was going to ask you.
I've actually made her costumes based on cartoon characters that she really likes. And I've made the jacket, I've made the swords, I've made the hair, and she dresses up as them. And I can't show up. I've got them on my phone, like 2 costumes. It took me months to make, and she loves them still, and it's fun.
If you text them to us, we can throw them into the podcast.
Okay. I would definitely.
But yeah, I'd love to see it. But I was going to ask you, how much of because you have so many costumes in your show, how much does that transfer over to helping her with cosplay?
It's because of what I do as an entertainer that she has the confidence to try to be an artist in comic books because she sees that you can do it. So I am, without a doubt, a major influence into why she believes that I can do this. I can dress up. I could. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big giant kid. I am.
Well, and we feel the same way about this podcast. I mean, it frees you up from the confinements of society or our jobs or whatever it is that we feel like
it's like your alter ego, and that's what the swinger is to me. The swinger is like an alter ego. It's like. There's part of you guys in this podcast, a real you, and then there's the part that you keep hidden that no one knows about, but you don't have to keep it hidden here in the podcast.
Right.
When I'm on stage, there are parts of me that I've got to keep hidden during the day, but when I'm on stage, I can just cut loose and stick marshmallows in my mouth and sing my songs. I can't walk into the mall and just go, but on stage I can.
Right.
It's like an alter. It's like I
can't believe that you can't understand cosplay. Like a little bit of my heart was stomped on by my father when he goes, "Hey, you're 11. You're too old for Halloween. You're not going out anymore."
How sad is that?
What the fuck, Dad?
Right. No, I understand it. Maybe it's. I understand it, but I guess it doesn't appeal to me. So maybe that's
if it doesn't appeal
it's okay.
Yeah.
But it's
the cool thing about cosplay now, and I think it's sex. I can't wait.
Cosplay. I think of like people
Sexy.
dressing up and being
well.
sexy.
There's I can appreciate
an element of that too.
Yeah, I can appreciate some different facets of this cosplay thing. Like now, it's so much easier to get your hands on materials to create fantastic costumes and like really cool. Like if you really loved Batman and Robin, and you wanted to make a Batman suit, 5-10 years ago, you were stuck with a shitty fucking Batman suit that is just flat and.
Right.
But now you can get
now with technology,
it's just sick, and you can make your belt, and we watched that cosplay competition.
Getting so excited.
I am getting excited because the creativity that it takes and the ingenuity.
That cosplay hero show on TV. Whatever.
Yeah.
Or that makeup show. Where they do like the special effects.
Face off.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
I said, and for some of these people, I think for some of them, they go to these conventions dressed up, trying to have studios go, look what I've done.
Yeah.
I can do this for you. And some of them, not some, a majority of them, get hired by houses, special effects places. They go, you've got a lot of talent. Let's get you a job. It's like this is my resume. You walk in dressed as a character from their movie. This is my resume.
And you look fucking great.
And you look better than what they did. They go, this is my resume. They go, you got to get a job. We got to give you a job.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's kind of like those computer hackers that create viruses that really fuck everybody up. And it's like the more damage they do, you're like, oh, you're amazing.
Yeah.
But cosplay, it's like that's the sweet, awesome, cool side, Whereas hackers are just fuckers. that nobody can appreciate except for other hacker assholes.
There's a TV show on now called Halt and Catch Fire. Have you heard about that? God damn, it's good.
What is that?
It's about a small startup company who tried to make the first kind of like portable PC.
Yeah, Cardiff Electric. It's actually a real company.
It's a real true story.
It's all based on reality. Cardiff Electric out of Texas, Dallas. And they tried to beat Apple and they were trying to beat IBM and make the first portable first laptop computer.
And what I liked about it is that they had this gal who was this genius who wrote all the code for everything. They had the computer kind of talking to you. Hi, what's your name? You type your name and what we'd like to do today. You type it in, and it's almost like a interactive.
Yeah.
And so they at the last second part of in the show, if we got rid of that part of this, we'll have more capacity for storage, things like that. And so they said, okay, faster. Yeah. And so they took that out. And at the same convention where they went to kind of present it for the first time, the first Apple II, the Apple One, that little gray box, it said, I am Macintosh. And the guy saw that and goes, oh, fuck. They're going to corner the market on that creative, unique aspect of what made it. Because Apple did not just blow up overnight. They had some serious highs and lows before they were the company that they are now. But when that thing first came out and this Macintosh computer that kind of like interacted with you in a way, just blew everybody away. Yeah. And so they kind of feel like the story was kind of, they blew the chance of being that one of those first creative, unique, different forms of computer.
Yeah, so. and the Cardiff computer is actually a real computer. You actually can go online and see what it looked like. It was called the Giant. And it's a fascinating story.
Good acting, too.
Yeah, good show.
Good sex scenes.
Halt and Catch Fire. It was on,
I'm going to write this down.
Yeah, I think it's A&E. It's one of A&E.
Yeah, Halt and Catch Fire. No, maybe TNT. Halt and Catch Fire, great show.
Yeah,
it's
really
only
good.
8 episodes. It's an 8-episode show, very easy to watch, less than 8 hours. It's not like a 22-episode, slog fest. It's 8.
And it's cool because you see one guy working on hardware or a bunch of guys trying to get this thing to work the right way, and then they say, we want to have this, this, and this happen. Well, Jesus Christ, we can't do that. We have all these different components that have to work together. Nope, here you're confined. Here's how it has to be built.
And what's great is that in today's society, we go, well, of course you'd split the motherboard. Well, of course you do this. And back then, no, we didn't have LCDs. We didn't have a liquid crystal display. We didn't have a mouse. We didn't have any sort of like interactive touch. It's great for kids to go. There was a time when a CNC, you press the button, and go A, B, C, D, and they go, yeah, it seems running on 128K. It's massive, 128K.
Yeah,
are you kidding me? I've got that in my watch.
Exactly, it's amazing. That's why when I think of phones, I think of it's just the extent of. You look back and you're just like, my dad talks about going to a friend's house on the block when they got the first color television in the entire neighborhood. And they got to go over and watch like whatever 1 or 2 shows that were in color at the time they could see. And they're all gathered around this little fucking tube that's this big with this incredible housing around it. And now I can watch DirecTV on my goddamn phone. Anything that's on TV, I can watch on my phone or HBO Go. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's because we've been lucky enough to be living in this time where technology has advanced so quickly in front of our eyes. I am still just kind of caught off guard sometimes where I'm like, oh, well, shit, I'll catch the Niners. When we're at that wedding, I'll just sit there and watch the Niners play.
I still remember the conversation I had with my dad going, why is there a hole in the CD? I still remember that conversation. Why is there? It took me an hour to explain. He goes, "Why is there a hole in the CD?" It doesn't go when you put in the CD drive. There's no hole, and he goes, "Why is there a hole?" I go, "Well, that's how they carry them. They put them on a spindle. They had to put holes. They can carry them all at one time." He goes, "But why is there a hole?" Oh, it's unbelievable.
I remember being in the Lindale Mall when they had the first a fancy audio visual store, and they had the big CDs that were for music and for movies, and the guys were showing
Laserdiscs.
Laserdiscs, there you go. And they were throwing it to each other. They were playing frisbee. They're indestructible. You can't do anything to them, which of course was not true. Not true. But they were trying to show off. And my dad was like, "Oh my god, that's incredible!" It was like a $900 Laserdisc player. And I remember renting. You could rent those for a while.
I watched Krull. Krull the Destroyer? Krull the Conqueror?
What is it called? Krull.
Krull. It was like a throwing star. The guy had this crazy.
And then, like, things came out. Oh, it's horrible.
And the palace would like sink and move every day. It'd be in a different place.
Yeah, that was such a bad movie.
3 eyes. Oh my god.
But that's the movie that I watched on Laserdisc.
I hate you so much. You made me remember Krull. I hate everything about you right now. There's nothing I like about you at this moment. Fucking made me talk about Krull.
What's the other movie?
This podcast is dead to me.
Hey, when you were talking about your dad going to see the first color television, I instantly thought of your dad going, fucking television. That's going to take away from my audience, from people coming to Broadway and hanging out. I mean, when technology rises in one area, it's going to pull from another area.
But I mean, the social media now, though, technology now is probably, is a blessing for entertainers. I mean, you can get tweeting and YouTube and Facebook and all those things don't all bring a bigger audience to you.
It's
double-edged sword.
It saturates it. Yeah, it's a double-edged. It saturates it because you have someone who's funny on YouTube who has a million followers or is viral, whatever, and a comedy club goes, "Oh, I'm going to book this guy. He's got 35 million hits. He's got a gazillion followers," and they book him into a comedy club, and he's really horrible.
Oh,
because he's not a comedian. YouTube allows you, whatever allows you to edit yourself to look amazing, and all of a sudden you're live. That's why nothing will replace a live show. I don't care how great the YouTube clip is. I don't care how great the music clip is. I don't care how great the video is. Nothing will replace live. Live is the only way to do it, because then you see true talent.
Well, yeah, because everything else is just numbers.
Right.
When you think of that fucking horrible South Korean guy, singer.
Do not diss Psy. Do not diss.
And then he's got 2 billion views on YouTube?
Deservedly so.
Holy shit, that's the
Really?
Oh, God.
All right, let's hear the positive
terrible.
here. Go ahead.
I hate it.
Go ahead. He's like the Weird Al Yankovic for the 21st century. Are you kidding me? I love people who can laugh at themselves, and I love people.
Psy laughs at himself.
How could you not? You think?
I don't know. See, I think he takes himself awfully serious.
Oh,
you don't think so?
I've seen him do interviews.
Okay, so I have not.
Yeah, do you think Weird Al Yankovic takes himself seriously?
No.
To me, he's like a Weird Al Yankovic. When you know how ridiculous you're being and people are digging it, I love that.
Okay, I'll take a little bit. I thought that he was like considered like a hardcore serious
he's like
entertainer. He thinks that's better.
He's out there having a good time. He's out there just digging it. I don't think he expected it to blow up the way it did, but if it did, he's going to ride the wave.
Oh yeah,
I'll tell you something. If I do something goofy and it gets 1 million, it's all of a sudden I'm selling out a 50,000 seat arena. I'm going to fucking enjoy every goddamn.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Just like he did.
Well, and like Weird Al just had he's blew up again because of
Just Shut Up.
Handy. I'm so handy. Have you heard that the spoof on Fancy?
Oh, I just heard the spoof on of Blurred Lines.
Yeah, that's a good one too. But Fancy is the song of the summer, so to speak.
I haven't heard it.
And I'm so handy. Jesus, my kids just love it.
You have to listen to it.
It's saying something when you're my age and you're like, okay, fuck, he was around when I was a kid.
Yep.
And he was doing this stuff.
I'm fat. Michael Jackson. I'm fat. Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah. And for him to me, it's like, where have you been? All of a sudden you come out and you're doing this thing again. I didn't know where you were.
Well, and like he did, what's that song by Coolio for Dangerous Minds? He did a spoof on that. About being Amish.
Yeah, Amish Paradise.
Amish Paradise. My God. So, he comes out once in a while and really seems to hit it right at a good time. And his songs are good. His parodies are great.
They're very good. They're very well done. So, I see. So, I'm all about, stuff like that. But, sometimes I'll see, a quote-unquote comedian does a YouTube hit and it goes viral and it's on Good Morning America and whatever and has millions and millions of hits. Then all of a sudden a comedy club books them thinking, we're going to get, and then people come out to see him and he sucks. He sucks.
And I think
that's what hurts me. That's what hurts me personally. I'm like going, you didn't even do your research. This guy's going to blow. He's going to blow.
You're just hoping for hits in your
but you're just trying to sell tickets.
Yeah.
That's where it bothers me is that now we've gotten people like, Todd Bridges, Dustin Diamond, going and doing comedy shows, taking money weeks away from real comedians because Todd Bridges used to be on Different Strokes. I'm like, really? That's what we've gotten to now? It's like, if you're just trying to sell tickets, stop calling yourself a comedy club. Just say, hey, This is the club. We got Todd Bridges this week.
Well, it goes back to I forget who said it, whether it was Doug Thomas or it was Tim Sullivan, saying that everybody's different. Everybody likes different comedians for different reasons,
Sure.
And so maybe it goes back to that. You want to.
People want to see celebrity, even if it's
No matter what it is.
even if it's D-list, even if it's Dustin Diamond or Pauly Shore, they want to see a celebrity. They don't care if we're funny or not, and they'll walk out going, "That was a horrible show. That was a horrible show," or they'll say to the opening act, who was just a really good comic, "You were so much funnier than Pauly Shore," and Pauly Shore doesn't give a rat's ass because you just paid $35 to see him, and
right.
you don't get that money back. Pauly doesn't care if he sucks. I don't care if he don't give him a rat's ass. Dustin Diamond doesn't care if he sucks. Todd Bridges doesn't care if he sucks.
Right.
Because he's going to continue to get booked because people are going to pay to see a quote unquote celebrity.
When you were talking about, the difference between somebody getting a viral YouTube video and somebody who's putting on a real show, I was instantly thinking about when that era of like Britney Spears and the real hardcore dancing, singing, lip syncing was coming out on stage in the music industry. It's like I would much rather see a performance from a band in the 70s that could not synthesize shit. Mm-hmm. They had to have the talent. They had to be able to wail on the guitar. They had to be able to play this song flawlessly over and over and over. And you had to have the pipes to sell it.
Right.
You couldn't just come out and be fucking flashy and show a lot of skin and like, oh, that's a good show. But as a musician,
well, it's like we talked about with like, what was that example I said a few weeks ago where, Freddie Mercury produced, did the music arrangement for all for one song, and then they compared it to like a Beyonce, and she had 6 writers, none of them were her, and 6 producers for just one song.
And what was the like 2 or 3 words?
Yeah, it was like girls rule the world.
Go girl.
Yeah, go girl, girls rule the world, and that's all it was over and over and over again. I was like, you had 6 writers and 6 producers for that.
Well, I totally agree with you, but also remember Elvis Presley never wrote a single song.
Well, yeah, he stole a lot of shit.
Well, no, but by saying that, he's considered the great. He had more number ones than anybody else, but he never wrote a song.
Right.
Never produced a record. He just sang it. But I totally agree with you. I remember Mili Vanilli.
I like Mili Vanilli, actually.
Mili Vanilli had to give back the Grammy because they were lip syncing and they weren't really singing. And now that's all anybody does.
Right.
With auto-tune, if you ever hear Kesha actually sing or Britney Spears actually sing, the auto-tune is what makes it. And all of a sudden, wait a second, Mili Vanilli was basically humiliated because they didn't sing, and now that's all we have.
Yeah, and one of them killed himself.
Yeah, one of them killed himself.
Well, and you can actually get on, I think it's YouTube as another site too, where you can get on, you can listen to those songs un-auto-tuned. You can listen to Britney Spears off her new album un-auto-tuned, and it is fucking horrid.
Horrible, yeah.
It's really it's really bad. I mean, they're not even, because they don't, it's almost like they don't have to be in tune. It's like it's like seeing a comedian who's a celebrity. You don't. I'm going to sell a record because I have 2 million. Yeah, 2 million Britney Spears fans, and so it's almost like they don't have to try to do it because they know somebody's going to buy the album. So I'll just sing the lines. You'll auto tune it so it sounds good. It's got a behind it, and then and everybody's happy. You know what I mean, like J-Lo. And I'm a huge J-Lo fan.
You just like the way J-Lo looks.
I do, and I think she's a good actress too. But music-wise, it's not that
God,
okay,
damn!
Angel Eyes.
Yeah, we're both leaving.
This adult becomes a Krull and J-Lo. Fuck both of you.
I do like her in some movies.
We have scarred you.
Okay.
Yeah,
you are
that's
now
it.
doubly dead to me.
Jeff's gonna be in trouble.
Made in Manhattan.
Oh, I love Made in Manhattan.
Oh, Jesus!
I don't care how buffed up you are with ground and pound. I'll fucking kick your ass.
Hey, here's something serious. I'm gonna shift gears. The difference is, do you ever look at it as being you're in a completely different circumstance as a comedian, performer, entertainer, for doing that on a ship? Because
totally different than a club.
Because those people that just saw you, they're going to see you tomorrow.
Yep, and they're going to see you standing in line at the buffet. They're going to see you at the pool. They're going to see you walking up and down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you don't.
Is there a completely different mentality?
Oh yeah. You've got to be funny. You can't have an off night.
And you have to have new material every night for a week.
Well, you do a 30-minute show, so you do 3 30-minute shows or 5 30-minute shows, and it helps to have 5 different shows. And luckily, I do, but by the time I get done, my show is so unique that they're asking, can you do this bit again? Can you do, I actually get done. So by the time I'm done, they're going, the cruise director will go, listen, a lot of people want to see this bit again. They want to see this bit again. I'll go, okay, so for the last show, I'll put all the requests together. Just all the
that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
my
that's
show,
nice.
I'm lucky as I'm in a way that my show is so unique. It's not just a stand-up comedy show where I'm just telling jokes. It's so visual, it's so interactive. There's music, singing, dancing, impressions that I'm so lucky that people want to see it twice, 3 times. Because I want to see the marshmallow bit again. Oh, I want to see the straitjacket bit again. I want to see the mind reading bit again. I want to see, they want to see it multiple times because it's kind of like a play. Like you see Phantom or you see Cats. I got to see it again. It was so good. I don't care if I know how it ends.
Right.
I don't care how the ending is. They want to see it again. So that's where my show is a little bit unique in that sense, where you can see it multiple times and still just have the same takeaway. Wow, that was so much fun. Like I'm going to go see Kiss like the 18th time, and it doesn't matter how many times I see it. I just love seeing the show. I'm never bored of it. So
I just never, what I never knew is what a fucking egomaniac Gene Simmons is.
We were talking about that. Earlier. Yeah.
I mean, there's a show, Fresh Air with Terry Gross on NPR, and he was on, and why he was on fucking NPR, I have no idea. But he was talking to her, and she's like this quiet woman who's just interviews people and stars and actors and musicians, and that's the first person when I heard Amos Leo the first time was on her show, and one of my favorite musicians, and he was, I don't know, part of me is like maybe he was just a guy in a bad mood that day. Because he was just talking about how if I'm at a party and I walk in, if I want to, I'm leaving with your wife. She will go home with me. I mean, it was just like one thing after another. And she was saying things like, do you feel like you have to act this way with me on the radio? Because I just want to get to know more about you and how you got started and things like that. And he wouldn't answer her questions. And he was just being like this really arrogant, cocky, horrible guy. And I was looking forward to hearing the interview because I want to know more about him. That's why I watched his show before it got a little too scripted, so to speak. In the beginning of his show, it seemed like
a reality show got scripted.
Yeah, but before that, it seemed like things were a little more off the cuff. But then as it went along, things got a little more campy. But I wanted to see because he's a pretty intriguing guy. His background is pretty neat, and so I was really hoping. And I was like, I was just really disappointed because it was just it was so bad.
He was playing the character. He sometimes can't get out of playing the character of the demon.
Sure.
And he's a shameless self-promoter, which I've got nothing against. But he won't really ever tell anybody he doesn't know what he's really like. Sometimes on Family Jewels, you saw when he went to visit Israel and saw his father.
Right.
That seemed much more like who he really is.
Sure.
But when he's doing interviews, he's got to keep this
persona.
Even if it's he won't ever give a real interview. He won't ever give a real account of who he is. And I in some ways I get it.
Sure.
But in other ways I'm thinking, your fans alienate fans.
And it would be exhausting.
I'm a Gene Simmons fan. I've met him twice. I've got no problem with him. But he is very full of himself, and he's very cocky. He's very Donald Trumpish.
And he has. I mean, he bought the. I think he's the sole owner of the Kiss rights. I think when they were
him and Paul Stanley.
Oh, he and Paul Stanley both did.
Yeah,
okay.
Him and Paul Stanley, and then I think Doc McGee owns like a percentage of it.
Because you can get a Kiss coffin now. Yeah. I mean, they have Kiss on everything. Yeah, and they bought a football team in L.A. right?
Yeah, the L.A. Kiss. They actually the indoor arena league.
So. I can't wait. It's going to be on some channel. I can't wait to watch it because you should see their outfit. Their outfits are awesome.
I think it premieres tonight.
Oh, does it really?
Well, no. August 10th, which would be
2 weeks ago. I was waiting patiently for that.
2 weeks ago. We all caught it.
But they have all the players have.
It's called Fourth and Kiss.
They have visors that have you can see through the visor, but they have flames on them, flames on all their jerseys and stuff. It's just crazy. It looks cool. Yeah. I like. I mean,
you have a character, but wouldn't that be exhausting to feel like you never?
I could never do it. I could not be the swinger 24/7. It would drive me insane.
Damn.
It's hard being. That's why when I do interviews, radio, whatever, I never come in as a swinger. When I do TV, I'm always a swinger. TV is I'm the swinger. I dress up, the whole outfit, whatever. But radio, I'm hardly, unless I know it's gonna be like a quick, I'm going to be on for 5-10 minutes, and then I'm the swinger. Just bam, 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 bam. But long interviews, I'm just like, just who I am.
Well, it's going to be hard to just have conversations about political stuff when you're trying to be the swinger. I mean, that doesn't.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's why when I ask anybody when I do a show, what's the format? What do you want? Do you want bits? Do you want this? What do you want? Oh, it's going to talk. Oh, it's going to talk? Well, then let's come on.
Yeah.
Let's come on. Well,
just hang out.
Just say, give us 3 bits. You want 3 bits? Leave me with these 3, and then, okay, I'll just do jokes. It's whatever they want. Because I find that, for me personally, when people get a chance to know a little bit about who you really are,
right,
they're more interested than just hearing you being a character.
Well, it's a connectivity. I mean, you get to you realize people were a lot alike. Whether you live in Cedar Rapids or we have kids the same age, and those kind of things are relatable and would make it. I mean, even though I haven't seen all your stand up, it'd make me want to go. Oh, he's a nice guy. I heard about him on the radio. I had a good, oh, he's got kids that are senior in high school. So are mine. That connectivity. I always said that about history. Once I figured out that George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and all these guys were just other guys who did a pretty phenomenal thing, but they are fucked up. They had slaves, or they, had issues with, women or personality traits, stuff like that, and they're just like everybody else. Then it made it more relatable to me as a student trying to learn history. I was like, oh, so just like everybody else. Okay, well that's more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, at that, and I'm glad that we're just doing this instead of you doing your bits, because I like meeting new people and having that connectivity with them and being like, oh, hey man, how's it going? What's new with you lately? How's your life? Not what's your gigs like, and are you traveling? I'd like to just have that connection. I love MMA. I love the UFC.
Yeah.
And I made a connection with Hard Drive MMA, the owner of Hard Drive MMA, Keoni Koch. He fought for a title fight a few months ago.
Yeah.
And when that happened, actually watching somebody on TV that
it was horrible.
It was one of the most intense feelings I've ever had. It changed completely how I view MMA and UFC, and all I'm thinking about is, oh my God, you're worrying about the guy's safety. You're not just watching two guys battle it out. I can appreciate the skills and the moves and the stratagem that they're using, but to watch a guy that I'm like, God, he's a really fucking great guy, really neat individual. I'm glad I know him now and I met him. But watching that just changes the experience. And now meeting you, it's going to change the experience for me. I'm going to really enjoy going up and going into the Penguins Comedy Club. Next time I go on a cruise, the appreciation I'm going to have for these people that are performing.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to see Tim Sullivan right after having him on the show, because I was like, oh, I want to see him do his stuff.
Yeah.
I know him as a guy now.
Yeah, now I know you personally. Now I'd like to see what you do.
Yeah, I'm excited. And I definitely am going to get a hold of Jeff and see if we can get some tickets for the 20th, because that'd be a blast to see.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a good time.
And you're not here very often. It's a one night only. So is Cedar Rapids no longer, you're too big for it now? Or
no. Well, clearly. No, they just asked me to do it, and I was open, and my buddy Willie Ferrell was supposed to do Friday and Saturday, and he can't do Saturday, and they say, hey, we need somebody to come in, and I was like, Willie called up Jeff and said, just see if Swinger can do it. Swinger, because Will and I are very good friends. He's a great comedian, somebody you should probably have on your show if you want to have his dad was actually a mafia hitman, and this is a total true story. It's actually, if you go to mafia.com to type in Willie Ferrell, you'll see
scary shit.
I mean, the guy, he killed people. Anyway, and Willie is one of the nicest, greatest, funniest comics you'll ever meet. Someone that actually makes me laugh. People always ask, who makes me laugh? I go, Willie Ferrell makes me laugh. And he called in a favor, and I was like, so coming out and help out and just doing a show, and it works out with the 25th anniversary, and I'm happy to do it, because I even before I moved here, I was playing Penguins. When it was the basement, when it was the basement of a Mexican restaurant. And, I've always enjoyed the Midwest crowds. I've always enjoyed Cedar Rapids crowds. I've always had a good time every time I've performed here. And it's a very eclectic group of people in Cedar Rapids. I guess that's, you have farmers, sure. You have factory workers, sure. You have white collar, yes. You have blue collar, yes. And you have money. You have not money people sitting right next to each other. It's a very slice of Americana in Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Because you can really go from the super, super highs to the super, super lows within like 3 blocks. And
Yeah.
it's a very if you can make people laugh in Cedar Rapids, you can pretty much make people laugh anywhere. If you're not getting laughs in Cedar Rapids, you should probably get out of the business, because it really is. Because there's just such a eclectic group, a wide ranging group of people. That,
Well, my wife and I are stuck behind a train the other day. We went for a bike ride, and we were stuck for 20 minutes by this fucking train. And my wife is like, "What in the hell? It's a Saturday." I'm like, the city we live in. This is a blue collar working town all the time, and so we're gonna have trains. It's just what we do.
I like when the train in downtown Cedar Rapids is going forward, stops, and then goes in reverse. Motherfucker.
Exactly.
You son.
I like it when the very last cart stops right in front of your car and then goes in reverse.
Well, this is what happened.
It's almost here. We're almost
We're on our bike, so I can look down to see where the end is coming, right? And it went back and forth 3 times. And then it backed all the way up, and the engine stopped right in front of us. And so luckily we're on our bikes, put them on our shoulders, and ran in front of the train and got over the tracks, which is not advised. Don't do that at home, please. But we were just like, we were waiting to drink beer with our friends, and so we hustled over the front of the train. But I like Cedar Rapids because it's eclectic like that. I like the idea that we have wealthy people and blue collars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's good.
And you go to Penguins or whatever, you'll get. You get Iowa State, you get Iowa University, you get, Co, you'll get, whatever the team in Waterloo is, like Cedar Falls. You get,
Panthers?
Panthers win. That's I can remember the names in my life. You have all these people, and like I said, you have Rockwell, you got Cargill, you got, GoDaddy. You got a good group of people out here that, really understand 90% of the time, really understand what, a comedy club is supposed to be. So,
Well, the Swinger, David Scott, thank you very much for being here today.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I
a lot of fun.
totally enjoyed hanging out with you and getting to know you.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Todd, some new stuff for our listeners, right? Because this podcast is going to come out, which, by the way, it will be coming out when we are debuting a new website. We're debuting TPSP Productions. There's going to be some new shows coming on the website. Mm-hmm. It's all very exciting. It's all very, very exciting. And on YouTube, you can watch these videos. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to put all the downloadable links. I'm going to put the link on the YouTube description to where if you just want the audio, you're busy, you need to get going, need to get it on the car, you want to download it real quick. I'll put those on the descriptions of all the YouTube videos. But Todd, where else could people find us?
Go to tpspproductions.com. That's the fastest way to get a hold of us. You can get our YouTube link there. Facebook.com, fantastic news site you can find on the internet. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Pinterest. I've been doing a lot of pinning lately because I like manly kind of shit. Of things I can never find.
I like naughty type pinning. Whatever happened to the naughty pins?
I teach you how to macrame
I probably could. God damn it! I have a do-it-yourself fucking page as well.
Do you
Jesus.
give at-home ground and pound lessons to people?
He's a ground and pounder. I am not. I'm a lover, not a fighter, as you can tell. But I also will be blogging on this new website as well. I'm very excited about that. Todd's blog. But yeah, we'll be having look for the new shows that'll be on. The production company is taking off pretty well, and we have a group of 4 people that'll be coming in soon to do a podcast. Rock and Rob will be back on doing the bandwagon.
Tim Sullivan will be in.
Tim Sullivan will be in to see about doing his
comedy WWE.
Comedy, yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. I should be looking forward to that quite a bit. But yeah, it's kind of blowing up, and yeah, when you're listening to this and watching this, you'll be seeing everything. Brand new website that Matt's been busting his ass on and doing a fantastic job.
Squarespace.com.
Squarespace.
You can make anything happen. It's beautiful. If an idiot like me can do it, anybody can do it. It's just, you take some time.
He's not kidding, ladies and gentlemen. He's a guy that likes Krull.
Well,
if a guy who likes Krull can develop a website, a fucking monkey with no thumbs.
That's right. We even and we don't even get into the Universal Soldier.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Universal Soldier, did we?
Universal Soldier.
I won't get into that right now. But the Swinger, David Scott. Twitter. Where do people follow you on Twitter?
At theswingerDS is my Twitter account. YouTube is the Swinger David Scott. Facebook is the Swinger David Scott. MySpace canceled.
And we'll have links to all that.
Yeah, and of course the website damilookgood.com has got videos, tour page, pictures. You can email me directly. It's got clips of the world's most dangerous bitten comedy. It's got the actual Guinness World Record certificate if you want to see what one looks like.
That's pretty cool.
It's got video of me actually doing the world record and breaking the record. I'm very proud of the site. I didn't work my ass off for it because, I don't have time. But it's a very cool website. But check out the YouTube page, The Swinger David Scott, the new show Swinger Says, and you can always catch me on iHeartRadio or iTunes or WSDIRadio.com. If you want to listen to my radio show, Swinger Nation Radio, every Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 to 9 o'clock Central.
You know what? You really get yourself out there. I'm going to have like a second page. Is there a second page I can put? With just all his contact information.
Yeah, we
got to work this a little bit better.
Sorry, I'll start doing a better job.
Well, hey, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thanks, guys. It's been a real pleasure.
I enjoyed it. I'm Matt.
I'm Todd.
We'll see you later.
Adios.
Good night.
All right. I love GoPros.
Do you really?
Really?